Hi, welcome to a design stream. This week we're going to be doing the Tassikal. That's the name, isn't it? The Tassikal.
Yeah, is it the Khalif?
I don't know anymore, but
It was one of the two. Yeah.
It's the Tassikal.
Okay.
So we're going to be designing that today. What the Tassikal are, it's like a very early version of the Tsar, and they decided to leave the Tsar settlement and start anew on Kebos. And in the dungeon there, which is Brimstone dungeon.
Yeah, the Karulm Slayer dungeon.
Ah, thank
That's
you.
what it is. Yeah.
Nice one. The Karulm Slayer dungeon. That's where you'll find the Tassikal. So they're going to kind of be, like the Tsar. Sorry, the chat's a bit strange.
Yeah.
We're going to just get on and start modding
it's the Tsar Splinter race.
Yeah,
That's what it's been for a lot. So.
Well, I'm really rusty on this. Just introducing all that was pretty bad.
That's fine.
Cool.
Start again.
Yeah, we'll start again.
Yeah.
Cool. So I've got Mod Monroe here.
Yep.
He's going to
That's
be doing the chat. So he'll be answering your questions or posing questions to me.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm just going to get on. We're finishing at 5:30 today, so I've got 3.5 hours to get an NPC done.
Oh well, it's not too
Will I be
bad.
able to do it?
Yeah, I think so.
Ah,
I think you've got
thanks
this.
for your faith.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I don't think you have this one.
Yeah.
It's only got one head, right?
Yeah, it has only got one head. My God, have we been making some complicated NPCs on this project?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so they are a splinter race of the Tsar. Or one or the other, actually.
Well, the cool thing about Brimstone in general is there's... Can we say about the law? Is the law...
I'm not sure.
Oh man, we should have checked this out before.
Yeah.
We're allowed to say who created these creatures there, aren't we?
Ooh, I don't know.
Man.
Mod Ed or Mod Kieran,
Yeah,
probably.
Mod Kieran, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this is going to be quite a dull conversation, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Kebos Lowlands we are releasing in the start of January. So.
Right, I'm just going to begin doing my usual shtick, where I just make a primitive like this and then cut it down the middle.
Okay.
Then we'll just build the torso out. So that's what I'm going to be doing. What's the chat talking about right now?
Not too much, just us
Not too
leaking,
much.
you know.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, we're going to try not to leak.
There's not going to be any new quests before then, but we are releasing 2 new quests with Kebos, which Mod Ed has been working on mostly.
What are these creatures called, sorry?
The Tassikal.
Okay, I'm not going to try and spell that.
It's not too difficult to spell. It's just Tassa Kahl.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
The Hydra Boss isn't locked behind a quest, but you do need a 95 Slayer to kill it, and it is a task-only boss as well. So do the Tassikal live in volcanoes?
I suppose the Tsar have always been dwellers in that volcano, haven't they? Yeah, so we'll go with yes on that. I think they have to.
Yeah.
Right, so I wrote a section of lore on this, but I don't know if it's canon or not, because it was a while before RuneFest, but generally they've moved to this volcano because they needed another power source, because they moved away from the original Tsar volcano. I think one of their number died when they moved over there, and there's 3 left.
Okay.
So yeah, they basically need the volcano to maintain themselves. The cool thing about these Tsar is they'll be, you know how the other ones are kind of like fiery colours like reds and stuff. Because this is a sulfur volcano, they'll be blue.
Okay.
So they'll be very.
So a bit different then, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool.
Less red lava.
Yeah, that's it. And they're going to be these kind of grand creatures that sit on thrones. And they believe that their philosophy on life is absolute.
Right.
And the joke behind that, obviously, is that they're in a giant echo chamber. So.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
That's why they believe that.
Fair enough. So this is the start of the...
Yeah, it is. Okay, so this bit here is just the chest. So I'm just forming out the shoulders just here. These are the deltoids down here. Around here you get your diaphragm, so I'd lift that up a bit. And then you get your clavicles just here. So we just broaden those out ever so slightly, and then we take the shoulders out a bit more as well, like this, and then just raise this up to make your trapezius muscles, I think.
Nice one.
Oh, that's kind of stuck out a bit.
So yeah, in case you missed the start of it, this is Mod Ghost designing the Tassikal race. And it's 3ds Max using, right?
Yeah, it's 3ds Max that I use. Although we might be using Maya soon, so stay tuned for that. That'll be interesting. I've never used Maya before, other than to just view models and do a few animations.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to operate in that.
Something a bit different.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
So I think these things are going to be like quite rotund as well, quite stocky, just so they feel like they're very much planted in their throne. So if you get like a trapezium, that sort of shape.
Okay, yeah.
It looks like really heavy set, so it just feels like there's this immense amount of gravity sort of like down there holding them down. So it'll be a nice, interesting shape to work with. And they're going to be seated as well, so it means I don't have to do many animations.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, so they're seated, they've only got one head, they've only got 2 legs. I mean...
Oh wait, hang on, yeah, Zara have got 4 arms, haven't they?
Oh, they do, yeah.
Yeah, so I better give them 4 arms.
Oh no,
I know,
4 arms.
I'd almost got away with it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah. Yeah, so this project we've been making the Hydra Boss, and it's been really tricky, like doing 5 heads on a boss. I've not really had a great time with that.
Yeah, that was...
It was really, really difficult. It just took forever as well, but it's done now, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks... The
Yeah.
Hydra's... it looks amazing.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm really pleased with it. So I can't wait to see what players think of that.
No, you're not getting to see the Hydra just yet.
No, we can't show you the Hydra. It's more than my job's worth, to be honest.
But you still take our word for it. It looks amazing.
Cool. Right.
Especially if you can manage to kill it, then it looks really great.
How difficult's the boss fight going to be? I mean, is this going to be like one of the hardest boss fights in game?
I'm not too sure at the moment. Mod Kira's designing it, so it might be quite tricky.
Yes, then.
Prif will be with the Song of the Elves, which is when we pull it, and then looking at Lim later next year, middle of next year for that, pretty much, once we pulled it.
What have you been working on as part of this update then, Liam?
I'm currently working on the Hespori at the moment.
Okay, cool.
So I just put down a map square, and I'm doing some of the fight. Well, some of the fight mechanics for that at the moment.
Cool. Are you able to tell us anything about the Hespori?
It's a plant demi-boss.
Okay, cool.
That's about most of what we've got nailed out so far. You need, the higher your farming level, the easier the fight's going to be. I think I'll leave it at that for just now, and then I think what else I can speak about with that. Okay, there's a nice question for you, Mod Ghost, on the bottom there.
Oh, you're here to read the questions?
Okay. However, is the new race spelled Tassikal, or Tassikal? Devblood said...
Oh, you're right. I do have to read it then.
Yeah.
Apologies. Tassikal. I don't know anymore, to be honest. I've seen that. I've not seen the actual correct spelling frequently enough, but I just spelled it out earlier.
Yeah.
Incorrectly to
Mod John.
Mod John, yeah. So, I don't know. You're asking the wrong person, clearly.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Did we get any word on whether or not we can talk about law?
I have got word from Ed, and you're only allowed to say from a law perspective, they're ready to do this, so don't go any more into detail.
Wow, it's a good job I didn't open my big mouth.
Yeah.
I was about to say much more than that.
Cool. That's good. This is not the Hydra, this is one of the Tassikal.
Oh yeah, the Hydra's done now, so not long to wait. You just have to wait until January, the first update of the year, and you'll get to see the Hydra.
Yeah, that's not that far away.
It's not far away at all,
No,
is it?
no.
So I think with these, they need to have a really sort of like imperial sort of appearance. They look
So they look quite
almost
imposing.
Like, yeah, they need to like
Okay.
really sort of daunting to approach.
Basically think they're better than everyone else, do they?
Yeah, that's it. Have this sort of authoritarian look about them.
Okay.
But in the lore, these originally. Oh, actually, yeah, I just can't say anything, can I?
No.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Not anymore. Can't even plead ignorance anymore.
Well, the thing is, I think as well, if I say something that's like not right as well, then it's still just as bad, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We do not use Unity, no.
No, we really don't, do we?
No.
What do we use, Liam? You could.
We use RuneScript.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's it.
For those that don't know what RuneScript is,
It's our own in-house scripting language that we use with our own tools. Our lovely, lovely tools. Just like Jagged, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, as you can see, like I've got 3ds Max to do the bulk of my work, and then we've
Yeah.
just got plugins for Jagged. But Kieran was explaining to me the other day that pretty much that RuneScript is a wonderful thing that allows them to script much faster than they would be able to do otherwise if they're using a programming language.
Oh yeah, for lots of things.
Yeah.
That's so true. Is there a poly count limit that you will be looking at for these, or?
Oh right, a poly count limit.
Yeah, it's one of the questions.
Probably between 2,500 and 2,000. So not too much, but that's only because of the size of the NPC. So it's not really the actual limit of polygons that determines how many polygons we use. It's more that if we use too much detail on these, they get lost in game,
Okay.
and they just look a bit nasty. I'll illustrate that quickly here. So this is a drake, or a half-finished drake, not quite done yet. So say if you can see like the amount of polygons on it. If I show you the mesh just there, it comes to about 2,000, which is average for an NPC this size.
Well, they're liking the Drake.
It's good to know. But say if I were to take all these polygons and then scale them all the way down,
Oh, okay.
you can see that the mesh becomes distorted because of the granularity of the grid that all these yellow dots called vertices sit on. So you can see the jaw just there has become completely mangled up.
Yeah.
So it's not actually possible for us to stick a large number of polygons into a small area of space. So the larger we make our models and the more bolder the shapes, the better they tend to work in our engine.
Okay. No, that's cool.
But if we did have a hard limit, I think it's around 4,096 polys. That's like a cap.
Yeah,
It
you
just
can't do
won't
any more than
render
that,
in game
no.
if we go above that.
No, that makes sense. So how do you know how much polys you've used so far? Obviously, you can't really hear so much.
Yeah, in this, it's fine. All I need to do is just go into statistics and configure viewports. Then go to statistics just here. Then just triangle count as opposed to poly count, and then show statistics.
Oh,
and
hey.
just shows them up there.
Nice one.
But generally, I've got an idea of like how dense a mesh is. So I
Well,
don't
yeah,
really
you've been
have
doing
to
this
use
just for a wee while, eh?
Yeah, just a little while.
Is there any ETA on more behind the scenes being added to ArtStation or anything? Someone's asking.
Oh, the art station. Yeah, sure. In the new year, I'm going to have time to do more of that. You'll probably get stuff related to Kebos. Like, it takes a lot of time to do one of those NPCs. I think now that we've actually got a process in place and we know exactly what we're doing, so we had to do a lot of research as to how we get the sketch fabs made and everything with our assets. But you know, we got there in the end. So now we've got a workflow, so it'll be a lot faster. So hopefully by February, I'd expect to have at least another 1 or 2 NPCs up there, so you can kind of check those out in detail. But it might be something from Kebos, maybe the Hydra or something like that.
Okay.
You can see.
I imagine that'd be really cool to break out like
Yeah,
that.
it will be nice. It's just about choosing our strongest work from Old School that kind of stands out as being, just some really nice looking assets.
Cool. Nice one.
Cool, man. Yeah, I can't wait to get that sorted, and it's so much fun to make them as well.
Yeah. The Chemis Lowlands are just a bit like west of Lovaking in Zaya and a bit north of basically where raids are at the moment, so Mount Ketamorton. And the lore behind it will be explained a bit more in detail in the actual release of the content and with the 2 quests that we are releasing with it. You do not need to complete a quest to kill the Hydra, and there are no special requirements to go there apart from obviously the usual. If you've got higher Zaya favor, there'll be more things you can do in the actual area. There's a chat question for you as well. Do you do a lot of any paper sketches or anything, or do you tend to do everything, any design work in the...
Yeah, I've got sketchbooks at home, so I tend to try and do a sketch each week. I don't really finish things or get them polished, but it's just more about keeping your muscle memory there, so you just don't completely lose the ability to sketch.
Okay.
So yeah, I still do that.
Fair enough. Does that help you when you're trying to get what you want things to look like?
Yeah, you have to. Generally, what I tend to sketch is I've got an anatomy book at home, so I'll choose like an arm or something, just all the muscles in that.
Oh wow!
So it just gives you a good idea of what goes where. So even when I'm making something like this, where it doesn't actually follow realistic anatomy, it still follows certain conventions.
Yeah.
Like say just the armpit just here, for example. This sort of pectoral area has to sort of slot straight into that armpit. It can't come down here, or it just look weird and it won't animate correctly. So it's just knowing where all the boundaries are around your joints.
Yeah, so making sure that even though it's still this new race of creatures riding into the beings, it's still got that humanoid flavour to it, so you can still see things.
It's more about functionality and readability rather than flavour, because people tend to, whether they know it or not, have an intuitive understanding of what looks real and what doesn't.
Okay.
And what looks believable and what doesn't. So, say for example, if I was to, it's a really obvious example, if I was to do that,
yeah,
everyone knows straight away that's laughably wrong.
Right.
People might not so much understand the nuance, but actually getting stuff in the right place makes stuff a lot more readable for people.
Cool. That makes sense. Yeah.
Bird person. No, I'm not doing bird person.
I guess it's a real question now as well. Is the Hydra considered male or female?
A lot of people ask this. When I make stuff, I don't really tend to assign a gender to it in my head, because it doesn't have the anatomy there really. There are a few, like the Maiden, where there's like definite like humanoid feminine proportions and stuff like that, where you can kind of say that it's a Maiden. But for something like a Hydra, I mean, even if you look at lizards in real life, apart from maybe some subtle size differences, it's very difficult to tell male from female. So it's not something I considered when I made it.
Cool. So here's a not so tricky question for you then. What's your favourite thing you've designed? It's in game.
Lady Verzig. Yeah, easily.
I was about to say
that was the most fun I've had designing a character. It really was a good one.
Cool. That is very iconic, and
yeah, I was really pleased with how that turned out. I think as well, like the boss fight itself is like the pacing of it and the way it flows. Yeah, is so addictive just to watch, and just see people on stream playing that. Had just a great time on release day.
That's good. Yeah, it was amazing to watch everyone just attempting to.
Yeah, well, the amount of people that were watching it as well on release was just crazy. And it's completely understandable why people were watching it. I was completely glued to the screen.
And then everyone was shocked when the final phase came out.
Oh yeah, I remember, because I was working when people got through to the final phase for the first time, and I had to watch it back on YouTube.
Yeah.
and it was great. I just had that on my TV. I was like, oh, I want to get to see what the reaction was. I was gutted though because Verzik turns into a bat when she dies and flies away.
Yeah.
But everyone just ran away.
Everyone
and never got to see it.
Yeah, that's a really cool animation at the end there with that was on the art station for Lady Verzik, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think that was the first time I actually properly seen it because, as you said, everyone just runs away to the loot at the end.
So yeah, I won't be doing anything like that again. A bit of a waste of time.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool, but as you said,
the thing with it as well is that vampires in our game can't actually die in lore, so I had to come up with a way for her to survive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right, so I'm gonna have to lengthen this torso out and do 4 arms, aren't I?
Yeah.
Do you know there was this design for the Mortal Kombat games where they had these 4-armed creatures and the torsos always looked really peculiar?
Really?
Because they had to lengthen the arms out to have like
okay, yeah, to try
2 sets of shoulders.
Oh.
And I don't want to like do that in this.
Yeah, you don't want to give 2 sets of shoulders stacked on each other.
Just look really weird. So I have to have the arms sticking right out, which I don't know how I'm going to do. I should have thought this through a bit more. Should have said, yeah, we'll do the Drake on stream because that was so easy to do.
Yeah, I mean, considering like what you showed yesterday, right, for that, and then what you got now, it's like, yeah,
it was just
perfect.
A quick job for that one. Oh, never mind. So what I'm going to have to do with the shoulders, if I want to have the arms sticking out, is I'm going to have to pre-pose them and then move them in the animation.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just relying on this mesh, moving back to the shape where it was just at originally by animating it. So it's kind of a bit of guesswork now.
Oh well.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm just going to have to grab the shoulder. Actually, the best thing for me to do is just to make an arm and then just try and weld it all into the side just there.
Okay.
What are we making? We're making the Tassikal. They're from the Karum dungeon on Brimstone. For the Kebus update, which comes out this January.
Yeah. It's going to have 1 head. Definitely only 1 head.
Yeah, 1 head, just 4 arms.
Yeah.
Didn't I say, like, a few weeks ago, I'm not doing anything with multiple limbs ever again?
Yeah.
And
then now you've got 4 arms. Yeah. I think, like, we'll come back in January, right? You'll have this list. These are the things that you can't have on our new... any new NPCs must only have 2 legs.
Well, I think like worms were really tricky as well to do those, to actually get them looking decent in game.
Yeah, yeah, they.
Oh, that was a nightmare.
They end up looking amazing, right?
They did look nice,
as you said.
It was a lot of time to spend on just a bog standard NPC, but you know,
I think it was. I hope it was worth it, and I think they look really cool.
I think it was worth it just because if you're going to do worms, then you've got to do something that looks like a worm. You can't just say, oh, we can't do worms, so you won't spend much time on it.
Exactly. So the inspiration for the Tassikal is, so it's a bit Tsar, right? And then is there anything else you're taking any inspiration off from any other kind of fantasy or anything like that?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know if anyone's seen the 5th element before. There's these strange alien creatures that look like very broad-shouldered, that very rotund. No, it's all right. We won't show pictures because it's not going to be an exact likeness. So it'll either disappoint or get us into copyright trouble. One of the two. I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of the image I have in my head. Maybe something kind of like that. We'll see.
Yeah. Did Sea Shiny 2 just come on?
It did, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how I guessed that.
Have we got like a set of songs that get played like, every live stream now?
Yeah, we have our.
We've got a playlist, yeah.
We have our old school soundtrack.
I can hear it now.
Yeah.
I almost prefer that being on.
Yeah.
So going to be a feedback loop. Okay.
Cool. It's almost like using to automatically put C Shiny 2 up to loud.
So why's that song a meme then?
Because it's a great song.
Super cool. Oh, is it just like people chose it? Like it was the chosen one?
It's such a great song, that's why.
So I haven't got any cultural significance like that.
I'm not sure. I'm not gonna take a guess at that. It's great.
They like it because it's silly, don't
It's one of those songs, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, back to normal now.
Cool.
they? Right. Oh, I hate it when I have to block stuff out to start off with. It always looks really
Oh, what? Oh, like the
stupid.
feet like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good look, is it?
I mean, yeah, no.
Chip it.
Yeah,
No.
we're done. Chip it, go.
It's not 2005.
I'd love to see someone actually do something with that in the game though, try and make a boss out of that.
Oh,
Or
really?
something like, I don't know.
Just blocky.
Big dog.
Yeah.
It's kind of reminding me of Nanny from Count Duckula at the moment with those big feet there.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know who I'm even on
No,
about?
I don't know.
Never mind. It's okay.
No, unfortunately, no, I don't.
Are you old enough not to remember Count Duckula? Do you not know of that?
Perhaps, I don't know.
Okay, alright, fair enough. I'm not sure if it's just me being weird. I don't know.
Probably not. I just probably missed something.
Because you didn't miss much.
No. Okay, that's alright then. The Slayer Master is a Caliph,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Slayer Master's a Caliph.
and these are the Tassikal. Sorry, Maz remembers Count Duckula.
Oh, Maz remembers Count Duckula. Well, it's not just me then.
It's not just you.
Does Maz think it looks like Nanny with those legs?
I'm sure you'll get told in a second.
Looks like an early Bionicle doll.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Bionicle dolls from
Yeah.
Doom.
I know from Bionicle.
Oh, right, never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, I don't know.
Sorry, see, there we go.
I've just been playing Doom and I picked up a doll in the game when I found a secret area. I thought that's what they're on about. I didn't even read what it said to me.
Yeah. Yeah, Mads agrees with you, by the way.
Alright, cool.
Is this power armor for dwarfs? No, it's not.
It could be mistaken for that at this stage.
At this point, yeah.
Perfectly legitimate questions.
So yeah, you prefer having a mouse or do you prefer using a graphics tablet? That's another question.
Okay, I prefer a graphics tablet, but it's not really something that I can use for 3ds Max creating low poly. I know there's some people that do their sculpts, their low polys as sculpts and then retopologize them. But I've just found, like, for the purposes of this, like, it's way faster for me to just block it out. And also, I don't know, if I was to do a sculpt, then I might just sort of wander off in a direction that I don't need to.
Okay.
Whereas this just kind of keeps me focused on just getting a game-ready asset as opposed to going a bit too far in terms of detail.
Yeah, with this you know what you can,
Yeah,
what your limitations are, basically.
Yeah, and it just helps me keep an overview of what's going on with it.
Yeah.
But different people work in different ways, so
No, that makes sense.
it's fine. If people like doing that, then it's okay. Oh, turn the microphones up.
Yeah, I was about to say, are they mics all right, or
Give me a second.
yeah? Cheers.
I'm quite a low talker, so it's really difficult to hear me in real life. The mics are turned up to max, probably.
Yeah, the new Slayer Master will give area-specific Slayer tasks. So, say you'll get something like kill abyssal demons in the Slayer Tower instead of just kill abyssal demons, and you'll get, so you kill them in the Slayer Tower and you'll get the task completion. But if you don't kill them in the Slayer Tower, then you don't progress your task, basically. Okay. Apparently, it's. The combat level for the new Slayer Master is 75 combat. You get extra Slayer points, and there is the chance to roll on the new Konar drop table, which has a chance in itself to drop the Dragon Hasta for use. The wilderness is not included in locations that can be assigned. Yes, we do take quests into account and any other requisites, such as you wouldn't get assigned black dragons, say, in the catacombs if you didn't have 77 Slayer, because you couldn't kill brutal black dragons.
You're very good with these questions. I'm impressed.
It's because it might be because I just did this like this week.
Wow.
And finished off putting in that Slayer tables and things. The Slayer tasks are a mix of like some good tasks and some of your normal not so great tasks, such as Zygomites.
I can answer a question in the chat.
Sure.
The guy with me is Mod Monroe. There you go.
Yeah.
I answered a question.
You did?
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. If you get an abyssal task, you cannot do Sire in that regard. But for other ones where the bosses are within the right areas, you can still do them.
Why can't they do Sire, by the way?
Because if you got a abyssal demon task that said kill it in the place where you kill Sire, you could only kill Sire with that task.
Okay.
Which people might not want to just do the boss.
Yeah, okay, fine.
But whereas if you got, say, Dagonoths in the Waterbirth Island dungeon, you could kill Dagonoths, normal Dagonoths there, but you could also kill Dagonoth Kings.
Okay.
Because they're there as well. So
yeah.
Because they're in the right place, they've got a choice in that regards.
Right, okay, I see what you mean.
Nope. Only Konar will be able to sign Drakes, Hydras, and Worms. Just how it is.
What would happen if we made it so people could, if we put abyssal demons in where the Sire is, you know, in the waiting area?
That'd be the kind of thing we could do in the future. Yeah, to potentially do that, change that kind of stuff and make it viable in that regard.
It wouldn't like devalue other areas, would it?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay.
You can still get boss tasks assigned from Konar. They just obviously won't give you an area, but boss tasks are still available. The Dragon Crossbow is worse than the Zamihasta.
What's Oh, I know what Bionicle is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You got it now?
Yeah, I got it now.
I'm just answering some questions in the chat while Mod Ghost here is fleshing out this model. Well, for the model for the NPC, it's quite a lot to do.
Yeah, it is. I shouldn't have picked this. Never mind.
It's alright. I suppose there's an option for new sulfur monsters to be added in the future. Potentially, if we ever extended dungeons or moved things around. Maybe some other sulfur variations.
Yeah, I'd really like a sulfur lizard boss. That'd be good.
Yeah, I'd like that as well.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen, is it?
It wasn't going to happen, not at the time, but
No.
it's always an option for the future.
Yeah, it is. I reckon it'd be nice as a sort of February, March update, to be honest.
Cool.
If people want it.
Exactly. That's the
They
thing,
might
isn't it?
not want it at all.
If they want it, we do it. We are not adding Dragon Scale Dust to Vorkast's drop table at the moment. No, cancelling tasks cost the same amount of points at Konar. There's no Slayer level limit on Konar. You know what's kind of reminding me like at the moment is from Doctor Who, the
Ice Warriors.
yeah, and also was it the Jadoon and things as well?
Oh right, yeah.
The ones with big armor and stuff.
Yeah, I think this sort.
But I think that's as you said, it's because it's a basic map of the actual.
Yeah, that's right. I think this sort of design's been done like so many times.
Yeah.
I see what you mean with the Jadoon with the raised neck
Yeah.
at the back as well. Yeah.
Ice Warriors as well with massive armor.
Yep, I know. No more referencing.
Yeah, should we stop before we
Stop before we get sued or something.
Nah, it's never gonna happen. Never. There are not superior versions of Worms, Drakes, and Hydras at the moment. I believe Mod Ed did say that we might look to add them in the future, depending on what people feel like and
Okay.
obviously what kind of cool ideas you guys can come up with to make them look slightly different.
Do people? Is it just superiors? Just give people more XP?
More XP, and obviously you get the chance for new items and things. For like the Imbued Heart and the Eternal Slayer Gem.
Okay. Yeah, we could easily come up with new ideas to make the superior ones look really cool.
But yeah, there are no superiors at the moment, and there will be none with Kebos. With the main Kebos update, that is. No, this is the Mod Ghost is making the Tasakal model right now, and probably going to add the arms, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm making the arms at the moment.
Making the first arms in the way to...
extruding some fingers as well. It's just trying to keep the details light, because I don't really want anything that... I almost want them to look like mechanical.
Okay.
So they don't necessarily need like 3 fingers or anything, they just need things so they can actually grab and lift.
Yeah.
And I'll give them opposable thumbs as well.
Yeah. I suppose the thing is that, as you said, they kind of sit on a throne, so they don't really do much.
Well, I think like the Tsar, what were they called originally? The Tokar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the Tsar started out as the Tokar that were instruments of the elder god Ma, I think.
I have no idea, honestly.
It's not Ma. It's another elder god.
But anyway.
They were used to basically sculpt the universe. So I'm kind of just trying to make them look like they were designed for that purpose.
Cool. That is... Okay.
Do you know the name of the elder god?
I have no idea.
No, yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I don't know that much about that kind of stuff.
Ah, okay.
What are you looking for?
The name of the elder god that made the Tokar.
There's a quest in RuneScape 3 about this.
Okay, we're testing your knowledge.
The patches on this.
Ooh. Yes, we know what we're going to have the drop tail look like for Drakes. We are currently, once we've basically finishing the models, we'll get the final bits implementation done for them, and we'll test out how long it takes to kill them and balance it properly with that, which should be happening reasonably soon for us.
We can't actually say.
No.
If that's what that person's asking.
Yeah, I'm not telling you what the drop tail is though, so just things that was in the dev blog about what we're moving obviously from Chambers of Serek to the Worms, Drakes, and Hydras.
I feel like every change I make until I get the proportions right, it's really silly.
I think that's just might just, as you said, it might just be a result of it being kind of a blocky model.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's interesting to see it like this though as well, and then obviously everyone who's watching will be able to see what this turns into in the end.
Yeah, that's generally the format.
Oh gosh. Now we have a shiny Machamp now, apparently.
Have a what, sorry?
A shiny Machamp?
Oh, yeah, I know Machamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we said we'd stop doing this, never mind. I'll stop comparing it to things. Oh, it's quite a nice question for you. Is there a reason you work on the right arm instead of the left? Or just what you prefer to do?
Oh, is there a reason why I work on the right arm instead of the left? Is that
Yeah.
what I said?
Yeah.
It just varies on
Yeah.
which side of the primitive I cut off and what side I mirror, so it can be either side. It doesn't really bother me too much.
Yeah. I didn't think it would, but...
No. No, some people might have a preference, I suppose, but no, generally I don't. Because it's mirrored anyway, so it doesn't really matter what side I work on.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That's fair. So how long did it take you to make the average, like, kind of new NPCs? The question asks about the Vice Trolls and things, but just in general for other ones as well.
Oh, right, okay, cool. The Vice Trolls took me about 3 weeks for all of those NPCs.
Yeah.
No, I think it's 4 weeks for all of the NPCs, wasn't it? So I was 2 weeks ahead.
You were 2 weeks
when
ahead,
we
which
started
is
the
really
project, and then I just worked on the project for about 2 weeks, really.
good. Yeah.
Just one sprint, more or less.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was good getting all that done quite quickly.
Yeah, they ended up looking really nice as well.
Oh,
and,
thanks, man. Yeah, I was pleased with the animations more than anything with those. I thought they were very humorous. That was good.
yeah, the rock throwing and the...
That was just after I'd done Verzig, and I'd actually started to get a taste for doing funny animations.
Okay.
I think it's a good way to go with some NPCs to make them comical when they move. Like Verzig is just like perfect material to make funny, isn't she? Really.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it was the same with Ash's like quest storyline as well. It just needed a lot of
It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek humour and...
yeah. I think the actual narrative of it was very funny. So the characters kind of had to mirror the narrative as well.
Yeah. Yeah, watching those trolls throw rocks at you was quite entertaining.
Yeah, yeah, it was good fun. Cool. Keep your questions coming in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to be really quiet.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Once Mod Monroe goes, I can keep talking you through. Yeah.
You're more than welcome to talk through part switches now as well.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I just don't want to kind of bore people to death just yet. I'll wait till you're gone.
That's fine.
You've probably got about another 15 minutes to ask us questions before I've got to focus on this and Mod Monroe goes away. So get them in.
Yeah, for sure.
ASAP, really.
There is no quest to unlock the Hydra Boss. I don't believe Mod Wolf will be joining the stream later. He might do though. Never know. You have to ask Mod Kieran why his name is Mod Kieran. And Mod Lenny is the one who's working the collection log. So I can't really give you an exact time frame for that. Yeah, someone's asking to show the Drake again as well.
Yeah, sure. I can show you the Drake again.
Just missed it at the start, so.
Cool. There you go. There's the Drake. So yeah, just do that. That's pink border's a bit annoying. Just going to try to switch the background into something that's more visible for it. Let's try that.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know if that's helped or not.
That has ended up looking nice.
Yeah, I'm pleased with it in the end. It looks cool.
It looks vicious and dangerous.
Yeah, that's what we wanted, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
We also wanted it to kind of look like it's an experiment. as
Okay,
well.
yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Huh. Would the lower arms be unusable if they're attached to the side of the ribcage? Is the question from chat.
Yeah, this is what I'm debating with myself here. So what I tend to do is just add more pectorals here.
Okay.
And just have it so they're all kind of coming out from a socket just here. But I'm just sizing them up at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I think people were mentioning earlier that the Tsar at the moment have basically 2 sets of shoulders. So
yeah, they do. Yeah, they're very tall.
Yeah.
So basically, if I kind of lengthen it out to about that,
Mm-hmm.
and then just have the chest just here, but it's kind of just getting the proportions so they're not just feasible, but kind of readable and nice to look at, as opposed to just going for what works.
Yeah.
So I reckon I'm just going to have to turn these shoulders like completely into a T shape like this, just to allow room.
Okay.
So that should work. I remember when I made Vertigo on stream, it was atrocious. I get the feeling this is going to follow suit as well.
Is there a reason you're using quads and tries in the same model?
I don't really worry about doing quads and tries at this stage.
Yeah.
I'll just wait till I get to the end of doing my mesh and then just tidy up everything afterwards. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not like I'm taking it into ZBrush, and the whole thing will be triangulated before it goes into game anyway. So it's not the same. I know a lot of people. So if I show them on this mesh, actually, a lot of people when they do 3D modeling rely on edge loops to kind of be very readable and have a good flow around the model. So say if you've got a tail just here to animate that, it's got edge loops that go all the way around it. But say for our poly colour, because we don't use textures, we colour in the polys, we have to kind of rely on triangles placed so we can actually paint them.
Yeah.
So you do get a bit of undesirable distortion during animation, but at the same time it's necessary. And you can see as well that everything's triangulated before we put it into game anyhow, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one that was just shown was the Drake, and this is the model for the Tactical NPCs. Maz's got a question. Is there a reason you make most of the models symmetrical?
Yeah, I just do it to start off with for speed. So if I know that there's going to be any details that are going to be asymmetrical, I'll add them last. Sometimes even after animation's done.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot easier for me. The good thing about this, we don't really have to be limited by how much symmetry we can have. So we can make something completely asymmetrical if we wanted.
Okay.
Which we sometimes do. But for this stage, it's just quicker just to do this.
Yeah.
And then just once we start putting in the finer details, actually start adding the asymmetry. Like Tecton, for example, from the first Rage release. That had, like loads of asymmetry.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it would have started similar to this.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
it. So we start off like this, and then we start breaking it up.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's similar to what kind of Mod West was doing with the objects in the last design stream.
Yeah.
It does half the, the same thing, half the object, and then mirror it, and then,
that's
as you said, you can work on the anything not symmetrical afterwards.
I think I've done some modelling in the past on these streams, and people were wondering why I wasn't modelling with symmetry on as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was asymmetrical that I was starting off with.
Okay.
So it just varies on what the design is. I don't always work this way.
That's fair.
Cool. I've done that wrong. Let's start again with that bit. Okay.
Did the snake ring keep the top hat? I don't believe so.
The snake ring?
Yeah, so the the Brimstone ring that Mod West designed on the design stream last time.
Oh, okay.
Designed the ring. It's basically an Ouroboros for the Brimstone ring.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he added a top hat to it.
He had his top.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a joke. But there was a straw poll for it, and it was quite a high percentage wanted the top hat
to remain
on the ring that you can't see in your character model. You will need Zaya Favorite for the Farming Guild. That was on, yep. Try to remember there for a second. There's so many different things in this.
Oh, there's loads, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give me a massive update.
It's so great, though.
Yeah, it will be really cool. I think I like the fact we've got 2 really strong areas
Yeah.
that we're updating.
I like the fact that it seems like nothing's kind of just there for the sake of being there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's you know, everything's got, it makes sense, and the whole thing is all tied in with whatever lore we've got going on, so.
Yeah, well, originally we started off with this huge shopping list of things, didn't
Yeah.
we? We kind of had to scale it back to what we could actually do.
Yeah.
So
I think that was really good for
yeah,
filling out
absolutely.
the content.
We've basically just got like a really strong update as a result of it.
So, can you give the characters fingers?
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah, our player characters. I think that's
Oh,
what
our
the
player
question is.
characters, yes, we can do that as well.
I don't think we...
There's a lot of details that we could add in game, but I wouldn't really. If we were to do that, then we'd have to do a rework of all of the characters, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of the things...
I mean, and that's a huge job, and I'm not sure many people would really want that at this point in the game's
Yeah.
career. Maybe I'm not closed-minded about anything. Like maybe someday in the future, if people want it enough, if there's enough requests from the community, we can start considering that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at this stage, it's not really going to serve much of a purpose to anyone.
No, I think I agree with that as well. Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't add a whole lot of extra anything to it, really.
No, that's right.
Oh no,
What's that?
just different chat things.
Oh, okay. Oh, you can't read them out. That's fine.
No, I can, but
Then read them. It's fine.
yeah. There is not a new house to get favor, and yes, the Hydra counts as a dragon. I said that before. It's also in the dev blog. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing this when it's done.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it when it's done. I'm just not looking forward to seeing it at the end of this design stream.
Yeah, that's what I didn't say. You see,
difference.
yeah. I did say that. If you want to check that any email you've got for the survey is legit, there should be a code in your account mailbox, which will match the code on the survey email, so that way you can check that it is legit email from us. Yeah. This is not the Slayer Master, it's the Tassikal, which basically...
It's alright. You can say what we've talked about already.
Yeah, I suppose they are obviously split a race from the Tsar, and they're the ones that control and own the new Slayer dungeon and things.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, this is really tricky doing this chest and that. Oh, I shouldn't have done it. Never mind.
It's all right.
I feel like I'm a bit stuck. I can't wait to get out of this part of the model.
Yeah.
Just move on.
I'm sure you'll manage.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It's just I
Yeah.
have to think a lot.
Yeah. I mean, considering what you managed with the Hydra, I think you'll be fine with this.
Yeah, it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Well, with Hydra and the worms and everything else for those.
Not just instead design some sort of four-legged creature today.
Oh, what? Just stop now and just start something else. Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I wonder what four-legged creature I could design today.
I don't know. No, we could finish the stream early.
Cool. There we go.
So was there any reason you started off with a brand new like base and stuff like this instead of
Someone
grabbing
asking
one
why
from
I
the
didn't
Tsar.
make a pre-made mesh.
Oh, why didn't you take from the
Yeah.
Tsar is one of the questions someone's asked. So
I think it's just because I want these to feel, I don't know, the Tsar meshes are quite messy,
yeah,
if I'm honest. When you look at them, the topology is all over the place.
okay.
So tidying up that mesh and then putting it all into the right shape would be more complicated than starting off with just a cube and putting that into the right shape.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and as well as that, there's a sense of satisfaction on a design stream when you start off with something that's a blank slate
Yeah,
and actually build it. Whereas if we're kind of taking existing models and editing them, it doesn't really have the same effect. And
Okay.
it sort of starts
so going from like having absolutely nothing to having this finished model is just a
think
bit
it's-
more satisfying for you. And,
yeah, it's more suitable for this kind of stream. I
and
mean,
yeah, especially if the other if the Tsar models are not the best.
yeah, exactly. So it's not how I always work. Like sometimes I do take existing models if it's easier and just kind of build on them. But for the purposes of this, I think it's better if we just do it this way.
I don't have a link to share the Hydra dev blog at the moment.
I can see what I can do.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's
okay, you can get that link.
in October in the news archives on the website, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Thanks. It's the Kebos Lowlands poll one. We're
That blog for the Hydra.
no, it's the whole poll blog, which has got all information on everything, and everything we polled about the 44 questions is there. We're not going to show you any of the bosses at the moment.
No, we can't do that, I'm afraid.
No,
Sorry, you said the whole blog Kebos Lowlands?
that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, let's build the shoulders out.
Yeah, 44 questions.
Yeah, perfect. That's the one that's got all the information on it. Thanks.
Oh, we're looking for time. Oh man, we're gonna have to go soon.
Yeah, I'll stick around for 5 minutes or something like that, and then
Cool.
I can always try and send someone else down as well.
Yeah, anyone's welcome to come down if they want.
Cool. I'll see if anyone else fancies it.
Yeah.
Thoughts on mounts as a concept?
On mounts.
Yeah, like horses.
Oh,
Or those things that don't exist in our game.
as
Sorry.
a concept
Yeah.
in itself, yeah, that's cool. I think they're really, it's a really nice feature. I wish we could do them, but
I just don't think we.
we can't.
No.
No. The most we could do, if
No.
anything, would be to make someone ride a terror bird. It fits into one
don't-
tail.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that though.
Maybe we could make it so it's actually the leg model. So that the legs get turned into the terror bird's legs. So it just adopts the animation of
Yeah, let's not do that.
legs. We could do it.
We could do it. Let's not do it though.
No, not a good idea.
They drop some new bones. They don't drop dragon hides or scales. That would be an interesting concept, wouldn't it? If yourself, West and Rye worked on one NPC model together and then mashed all your, like each worked on a different part of the model and then mashed it together and see what you got.
It sounds like a good idea, but I'm not sure if we'd end up with anything
Yeah.
that's coherent at all.
Yeah. Sounds like a good idea. I don't know where we'd fit it time-wise.
No,
Is the other thing.
no, it wouldn't really go so well, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. I don't actually know. I don't even know the combat level for the alchemical hydra, so I can't tell you that.
Would you if you did?
No,
No.
I wouldn't anyways, but I don't actually know it off the top of my head.
Is it the highest combat level in game?
Not sure.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know. I don't even know. This is not designing the hydra. No. This would be a very interesting hydra if this was designing the hydra.
Maybe they just saw the multiple limbs and just thought maybe
Yeah.
maybe he's just doing something a bit
A bit different
A bit different.
for the 100 of
A
you.
bit too different. Okay, right, now I get to do the head.
Ooh.
I think the head's going to be too small for the body. I'm going to go for that kind of look.
But actually, that could be quite interesting.
Yeah, kind of like it's sat in a suit of armour. Oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting idea, actually. Maybe I could get away with that.
Yes, you can kill drakes off task.
Just going to collapse this.
Yeah. So did you have any concept art or anything for this?
We don't work from concept
Yeah, I
art,
didn't think so.
Not very often. We had like some conceptual ideas drawn up for us for Verzig as to what we could do with that kind of character.
Yeah.
We had some. We definitely had a concept for Volcath because the concept for RuneFest was made beforehand.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'd really struggled to figure out what we've had a concept for. There may have been a few other things, but I can't think of them.
That's fair.
So yeah, we don't really have concepts. It'd be nice if we did, I suppose.
Do you think it would help you guys, or would it hinder at all?
I suppose if it was like a concept that said you definitely have to make this,
Yeah.
then it'd be problematic because you don't know if it's going to be successful in our engine and with this modelling style.
Mm-hmm.
I think the good thing with Verzig is we got something like people saw the original concept on stream. That was just a conceptual idea of what Verzig could be as a character, and it had like a few sketches alongside it of how she could operate on a hoist. So we just kind of took those and really kind of built.
Kind of ran with that.
Yeah, that's it, and that was an easy way to work the concept. Conversely, when we did Volcath, the concept was so detailed, and I tried to follow it as closely as possible. And although I like the look of Volcath, it still looks a bit overworked in places, like there's too much detail all over it.
Yeah.
And I really did scale back the detail as much as I could from the original design. So for me personally, I just prefer to work with like the concepts we had for Verzig, just rough sketches.
So yeah, nothing like fully fleshed out. It
Yeah.
has to look like this. More, we've got these cool ideas of what this could do.
Yeah,
Where can you go
that's
from there?
Yeah,
And with your own like input and what you want to do with it.
Yeah, that's right. So nothing fully rendered.
Cool. Fair enough. Right, I'm going to get going in just
That's
a minute
cool,
or
man.
two. But
It's all right. You can go anytime you want, by the way. You don't
Oh,
have
I know.
to stick around. It's okay.
Sorry, I wasn't going to.
I'm used to this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'll see if I can send down another mod.
Yeah, if they want to
Just for half an hour, an hour or something. Just
Sounds good. Cool.
cool.
All right, sweet. Right, I'm just gonna.
Best of luck with this.
Cool. Thanks a lot. So thanks to Mod Monroe for taking your questions. I'm not going to be able to answer your questions so much from the chat now. Apologies for that. I'm just going to have to kind of explain what I'm doing with this creature now. So for those of you that have just tuned in, this is a Tassikal. The Tassikal are a splinter group that broke away from the Tsar NPCs because they didn't agree with the Tsar's methods on certain things. And they found the volcano where they've now settled in these new forms, and they draw their energy from the volcano, much like the Tsar do from their home. So right now I'm just going to start building the head on this creature. Everything looks quite chunky and blocky at the moment, just to help me establish proportions. I think I'm going to go for a head that's slightly too small, just to kind of exaggerate the proportions of the body. So I'll just grab this neck where I can and just scale that in, like this. And I think I like the idea that the neck is kind of arched at the back and looms forward out of this big suit of armour that it appears to be wearing. And it also kind of helps this big hunched back that it's got just appear more prominent as well. So I could probably just select all of this and just drag the top a bit more forwards, I think, just to exaggerate that a little bit. Okay, I'll pull this forward just up here. Cool. Okay, so the neck muscles down the side here, these are called the sternomastoid muscles. That's what these geometry here represent. And that helps me understand roughly from where the back of the ear would be on a head all the way down to the nape of the neck, So once I've defined those, I'll always start extruding the head after that point, and it just gives me a good guide as to where I can position the head. From there, I can just position the jaw out like this as well. And these won't have a very human-looking face, but I always start off with kind of human-looking proportions, and then I'll do something a bit more abstract from there. So we can just create a quick cut down here, and bring that down a little bit. There we go. It's looking slightly more like a face now. And generally I will break a face into thirds before I start modelling it as well. But for these guys, I think I'm going to give them these really large eye sockets to make them look almost beetle-like, just to start with, see if that works. If it looks a bit too peculiar, I'll probably change it to something else, but that's generally what I'm feeling for it right now. Okay, so we'll just widen the head out slightly like this, and just narrow the face in a little bit as well. There we go. Okay, now I think I prefer it like that. Okay, so just connect the jaw up just here. And we'll create one more connection just here as well. Yeah, so that's all looking good. I don't think I'm going to have much of a silhouette from the side on the face. I think I'll just go for a lower jaw that protrudes slightly. There we go. So for the eyes, I think I'm going to have these large torch-like eyes, almost like the Iron Giant, if any of you have seen that before. So it looks kind of alien. See how this goes. It might look a bit pants, but just give it a try to start off with. Yeah, I think that'll do for now. Oh, actually, no. I think we'll leave it blank for now. So I think that's enough to go on for now, and I'm just going to take that into Jagged, which is our in-house editor. So I'll just save this quickly. Cool. Let's move this over here. And we'll just create a new folder for this and call that Tassa Carl. The spelling, as we established earlier, is probably incorrect on that. Tassa Carl. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just export this.
Lost the camera for some reason. So
Oh, that's fine. Don't worry. No one needs to see me. We can do without the camera. Okay. Cool. So Tassa Carl again, and we'll just open up this, and we'll save the Drake, just in case I haven't done already. And I'm just going to load up the Tassa Carl in here and see what we've got. Tassa Carl. Good. Okay. That's way too small. That's tiny. Yeah, they need to be a lot bigger than that. So we'll move him up to about that size there. And I'm just going to change the colour of the background as well. So this should make things a bit more readable for anyone. There we go. Okay, that's good. And we'll change the brightness settings on this as well because it's really ramped up at the moment. There we go, it's a bit more readable. And I will turn on the guru shading as well. So we now have a base mesh to begin working with. I think the base colour that we should go for this guy should be just a grey rocky colour. Actually, there was a nice colour palette on this Drake, so I think we should just maybe try working with a grey that's like this, and then we can just brighten that up a little bit. Yeah, that's a bit better. So the inside of the dungeon is going to have blue lava, so this slight greeny blue tint that we give into the rock will make it feel more atmospheric.
Take a cup of tea or something?
Yeah, I'd love a cup of tea. My coffee's gone cold. Always goes cold. I just dehydrate every day because I don't ever get to drink anything.
How do you take it?
I'd like 1 spoon of decaf coffee, please.
Sure.
The world's going to know how I like my coffee now.
That's fine.
1 spoon of decaf coffee with sweetener in it, just 1 sweetener, and semi-skim milk, please. Cool. No water. No, it's a joke. Sorry.
No water?
Yeah, it's a joke.
That's
It
how
wasn't a
you're
very
gonna
funny joke.
You're back in a bit.
Okay, cheers. Cool. So I didn't really like the big bug eyes, to be honest. I thought it looked a bit strange. So I don't really know what we're going to go for. I'm going to go and look at the existing Tsar. So go to the Old School RuneScape wiki and just look at the existing Tsar, see what they've got for eyes. No doubt it's going to be 2 triangles. Yep, it is pretty much 2 triangles. Okay, well we'll try and get them get this looking quite similar to the existing Tsar then as well. So we won't defy convention too much, we'll just stick to giving it 2 eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work on one side of the model and then I'll mirror it afterwards. Just going to start with the face and start giving it this very sort of heavy brow. So it looks very authoritarian. And just going to connect it up to the top of the ear, roughly about where it would be, just there. Okay. And then I'll start moving the socket in slightly here. And this would be where the bridge of the nose would be. And there we go, we've got this kind of heavy set brow now. What I'll do is I'll just use a slightly darker colour, just so you can see where exactly these areas of the face are that I'm making now. So we'll just cut this up a bit. And I think the eye should just come up to about here, and then we'll just create another cut just here. And that should be roughly where the nose is, just there. We have to keep flipping the directions of these triangles as well as we go. Okay, so we'll go for a deep blue to begin with for the eyes. It needs to look a bit angrier than that as well. So maybe if we bring these in and make the eyes slightly wider. Nah, it looks a bit too soft. Okay, we'll stick with that for now and see where we go afterwards. Now the Tsar, it doesn't look like they have any mouths. So for what we can do is we can kind of accentuate the jaw just here to make it look a bit more interesting, kind of the Optimus Prime look. Like so, and that way the brow can hang over a bit more as well. Okay, we'll just move the eyes back too. Tecton. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to avoid Tecton. That's why I didn't do like cuts down the face. But yeah, it's going a bit Tecton if I'm not careful. So it's important to try and keep it different from Tecton as well. Okay, so there's also have these kind of big ears that stick up as well. So that's an interesting detail that will add a bit of interest to the silhouette of the head. So if I just lift this up to about here, that's generally where the top of the ear will start, I should think. And I'll just move the face forward a bit as well. Tecton definitely looked like a transformer, I think. It won't be, we won't go too near Optimus Prime for obvious reasons. But I think it's difficult to avoid at this stage because everything looks so blocky. So that's enough of an area for us to extrude near from. So let's just go ahead and extrude. So our extrusion in this tool is really tricky actually. So what I have to do is I have to delete all the faces around the edge just there. There you go, that's the extrusion's a bit better then. And then I just select that and fill that in, and we'll use the Z buffer. Sometimes you have to flip the faces once you've introduced them as well. Okay, so instead of it just sticking straight out, we also want it coming back a bit as well. And we don't want them sticking out too much, otherwise it will look a bit comical. So just move them out just enough. It might actually be nice if we really exaggerate these so they almost look ornate. So if we just create a small area in between here, just to make sure the ear is distinguishable from the rest of the head. Move this down and then just extrude, I have to delete that. And then we just select the edges around here and just extrude directly up. And yeah, see what we get there. So these need to start getting narrower, otherwise they're just going to look like protuberances and not really read correctly. I can probably get away with lifting the ear up a bit more. I'm actually going to weld these together. That was a bad choice. There we go. Okay. What I can do as well is, because it doesn't really feel like the ears need to be that low down where they join. They can kind of be coming out the side of the head, I think. So let's just move these ears right back just to give them a bit more shape. There we go, yeah, that looks a bit cooler, kind of like wings coming from a helmet. Okay, just move this in slightly. And we'll switch that on. There we go, the model's not transparent now, so it'll be easier for you to see what I'm doing. Okay. And we'll just do one more extrusion up. Okay. And make sure those are facing the correct way so they render. I'll just weld everything together now. Okay. So using this tool is a bit eccentric at times because of the way you generally extrude geometry, but you really do get used to it. So often I like to work in this tool just so I can assign polycolors, and I'll keep moving a model backwards and forwards in between the two editors, depending on what stage it gets to. but generally once I've got an idea of the colour palette, that's a really important step for me to get inspiration for what I want to do with the rest of the model. So this is it's an important step for me, doing both of these at the same time of one another. Okay, and this would be an interesting idea if maybe the ear joins into the brow line just there. And sure, we can pretty much, yeah, we can just ditch this whole area. It's getting a bit too busy. And just close it up again. Okay, if I select this colour just here, just go around the back of the ear a bit just to define that. And we'll just move this in slightly more, this out slightly more. Yeah, sure.
Just got a couple of visitors. Can I just show?
Oh, yeah, we're live at the moment, so you have to keep the noise down. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool, so just keep shaping the ear out here. Okay, and we'll just add a highlight to the front of the ear as well. Right, so. Okay. We'll just increase the colour. There we go. And just move this back out a bit more as well. Okay, so that's part of the head so far. Now we'll just select this darker colour just here and start colouring around the jaw a bit more. For people that have just tuned in, this is going to be the Tassikal. It's a splinter group from the Tsar. It's going to feature in the Karum dungeon in the under the Brimstone settlement for our January update of Kebos, which is a Zare expansion. So we'll just have a neckline around here at the back. So you can see as I start to colour things in, it just becomes a lot more readable. So it's a lot easier to build on afterwards. So I'll just start adding more colour around the arms just here too. And this side here. So and it also helps, so I wanted like 2 chest areas just here because we've got 2 sets of arms. So it just makes this a bit more readable as well. Just under here, I think we need to colour that in a bit darker. And we need to pull this portion of the shoulder out a bit more because at the moment it's kind of sinking in. So you're losing the shape of the chest around the side. And we just want a few more cuts around here, just so we can darken those down a bit too.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of that.
Okay, no worries. Oh, so we just keep building the upper shoulder around here too. Cool. We just had some visitors in the streaming room.
Yeah, I saw that. There's there wasn't any coffee, so I just put milk and water in it.
Ah, okay, that's fine. There's nothing quite like milky water. It's my favourite. Oh, someone's just said it's a mumble rap stream. Am I mumbling when I'm talking?
It's probably because they were mumbling and they couldn't hear what was going on.
Yeah, I do mumble. That's why I ask.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I definitely mumble. I'm sorry about that. Perfest. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I've heard people say that about me before. It's not intentional.
It's relaxing though, that's the point.
Yeah, I suppose. If I can help people relax, then that's always a bonus. Cool. Right, so as well as that, colouring in the model helps me establish a vague light direction as well. So I can start colouring the underside of these arms in too. Like so. And we'll do it on this side as well. I should try some of the whisper streams. I'm definitely not going to start whispering on these streams. That would be so strange. OSRS, yeah, that'd be good. That's a good name for a channel. Okay, right, so I'm getting distracted by looking at the chat. Right, so I'm going to continue just by adding some highlights to the top of this model as well. Like this. So I'm not sure if this is going to get to a completely polished state by the end of the stream, unfortunately. But it will give you a rough idea of what the final result is going to be like in game. And I can always get the OS Twitter to tweet this out once it's finished as well. So you'll be able to see it there. And no doubt this video will be put on YouTube as well. So we can always attach the finished image to the end of the video in an edit too. So you'll be able to see it there in the end. Sorry, the coffee's making me belch.
Want water as well?
No thanks, yeah, it's fine. Winter's a time for coffee, not a time for water.
True.
Yeah, I've been drinking way too much coffee recently, so that's why I switched to decaf, just so I can know that I'm drinking coffee not because I'm addicted to caffeine, but because I like coffee. And you just get these massive headaches on about your 10th coffee of the day, and that was really starting to affect my concentration. So it's been decaf all week so far. Right, there we go. So starting to get a rough idea of what this is going to look like. And we've got the basic proportions lined out. I just want to do a few more bits with the colouring, and then we can go back into 3ds Max and start fleshing out the mesh a bit more, giving it a bit of form. Okay. So just go into a front view. Just delete down one side, and again we just mirror it. Oops, after we duplicate it. It's better. Okay. So that's a rough representation. I think we're going to have to sort out the proportions a bit, because I was going for something that looked slightly like rotund and lordly, but I think it just looks a bit, I don't know, out of proportion at the moment. I'm not very happy with that so far. So we don't want to save over Drake. let's go to Tascal, and we'll save it out in iterations, and I can load up the iterations at the end of the stream. Oops. Okay. That's what we started off with, just before we started colouring in, and you'll be able to see the difference that just a quick recolour makes. So let's import this.
Bortias is asking the right question in the chat.
Oh, what's the right question? It's cool, but can you give him a top hat? No, I can't give him a top hat, unfortunately. There's times for top hats and times where top hats should be negated, and this is one of those. I'm sure next Christmas he'll have a Christmas hat though, if Modmaster has anything to do with it. You can look out for all your favourite NPCs this year having Christmas hats applied to them. Okay, so I'm just lengthening the legs out now. I think the head needs to be a little bit smaller. More for a stylistic reason than keeping it as having realistic proportions. I just feel that it would just make the body seem a bit more rotund if we just shrink the head in a little bit like that. The arms are a little bit too chunky, but I can live with that for now. I just need to decide what I'm doing with the shoulders around the back just here as well. So I think I need to just bring these out a little bit. Firstly, I'm just going to cut this down the middle, and then we can start using the symmetry again. Okay, so just delete that side, and apply the symmetry modifier like this. Let me flip it. It's never easy, is it? Okay, so just need to expand this just here and move the gizmo. See where that's placed. 128. There we go. Okay, move down here, switch on the modifiers at the top, and we'll just be operating on the side with the orange mesh now to manipulate both sides of the model. Let's rotate around the back. So I really want the back to come out a lot more, and I think in order for that to happen we need to move all of the front forwards a bit. So there's quite a big rejig that we've got to do here with stuff. So let's just select all of that and just move all this forwards a bit and move the back out a bit like this. And just move the feet forward too. And then we move the head back. So then we need to move the arms back as well. I'm really finding this a bit tricky because there's not really a blueprint for me to follow in my head of what something with 4 arms that's humanoid should look like. I think it's about it. It's there. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that for now. Let me just keep it to about there. Okay, right, so start moving this back bit forwards. And I kind of want it to come over the front of the head as well. Kind of beetle-like fashion. That'll give it a really interesting silhouette. At the moment it doesn't really feel like it's guiding the eye in any particular direction. Let's just move to the side again. And just pull that out. And round the back here as well. So I really want you to feel like it's got a strong, sturdy back. So if I just pull this out and widen it, I believe we'll be able to get that effect. Okay. There we go. See, that's a really interesting shape that we've got just there. It's it reads very well. You know, often when you create shapes, you don't want them to be too busy in Old School RuneScape, so you just want nice, big, bold, interesting shapes for something that's abstract like this. And we can also start adding more curvature around it as well, because at the moment it's very diamond shaped. This, there we go. What a difference just a little bit more curvature makes on this. Okay, so we'll just move this forward slightly. And we'll, I think we'll try and just make this appear like it's got more form, because at the moment it doesn't really feel like it's, it just feels like a pile of lines on a mesh. It doesn't really feel like these polys are serving a purpose at the moment. So just move that out and start connecting these up a bit. Okay. So we'll just check the readability of the mesh now. So again, just need to just keep moving this out until the form around the back here just feels like it's a bit more unified. Yeah, I think it needs to fan out from this central point to really get that. Let's see how we go now. Yeah, it's a bit smoother. It's good. Okay. Now I think we just need another cut in here as well, so it'll be an interesting part to colour in when we come to polycolour in the next stage. See how much time we've got left. So we've got we've got quite a bit of time left.
2 hours.
Yeah, we've got about 2 hours to really get this looking somewhere near finished, which is good. Okay, just keep moving this up. And we've just got a nice curvature coming around the back here as well. So ideally I want this to kind of curve round and guide the eye through into the front just here. That'd be a very pleasing curve. We could probably lose some of this around the back eventually, and then the chest needs to be really barreled and come out and look very strong and sort of puffed out. We'll keep focusing on the back for now. Also these sections where the arms come out of, I want to kind of build these in so they don't feel like they're just kind of jutting out at random intervals. I want to feel like they're all interconnected with the rest of this armour. So if we just move this in slightly here and just connect these up here. I think it's going to look nice if we try and actually, no, that won't look nice. Okay, so let's connect that up there as well. And I think I'm just going to make it so these jut out slightly, so the readability there is a bit more pleasant to look at, as opposed to this up here, where you kind of, your eye gets lost a bit because of the details. We just want these shapes just here to come out and almost mirror what we've got around the top just here, so everything on the suit of armour just feels like it complements the rest of it. So it's just all about creating a very satisfying, readable shape for this NPC overall. And much like what we started off with the top, you can kind of see that there's a bit of tidying up to do around here on the arms, but when we're working on a lower granularity grid in Jagged, which is the in-house tool that you saw before, it's a lot easier to get everything in place, so I don't really worry too much about making sure everything's positioned exactly in this tool. So let's just see where we're going with this mesh now. Okay. So around the front just here, I think it'd be nice if this shape just here flows into the chest in this direction instead of having these sections where it just kind of stops abruptly, where it feels like it's almost fastened like side panels on a suit of armour. So I want this to kind of come in to the centre, almost like ribs joining into a sternum just here. I think that'd be a really interesting effect. So I'm just going to start barreling the chest out a bit more, and like we discussed a little bit earlier, that'll help the chest kind of feel very puffed out and imperial looking. So just move this in like that, and all of these pieces here won't need to move. The arm sections will need to move when we come to animate them. So it might be worth bearing in mind that the arms, if this was a model that had to move about quite a lot, the arms would clip through these shoulder plates just here. But because it's going to be enthroned constantly, the arms won't clip just there, so we won't really need to worry so much. And the throne will have 4 arms on it as well, which will look very interesting. So let's just move this in a bit more. So I basically need to create a sternum down the middle here, so at this point it's a lot easier just to collapse it. And then just select up to about here, I'd say. And that'd be where the sternum is going to be on this model, and just chamfer that out like this. And just create a split straight down the centre. That's very messy. It's not really great. Okay, we'll just leave it like that for now. I'm just going to connect all of these lines up just here. Okay, and just connect all these pieces in. And I'll leave this piece floating here for now because I'm going to create a cut down the centre just so I can cut the model in half again and mirror it. But it'll also help to give the sternum a bit more shape later on when viewed from the side, so it doesn't seem completely flat like that, so the sternum's lost when you turn to the side. So in order to make it readable, actually creating this cut down the centre is going to be very good for that. So just see if I just hit ring just there and connect a line down the centre. I'll also then need to delete these polys just here in order to weld these verts to that central line that I've just made. Okay, and then I can just connect these to here for now. It might look okay just having them there. It's an interesting shape, directing the eye down towards the rest of the body. So we then pull this out, and all of a sudden that sternum's nice and readable from all directions when you rotate the model around. Now, as Silhouette is always the place where you really want to start creating models for Old School, I'm going to start tidying this up a little bit now. So we've got this curve around the back here, and I almost want to create like a counter curve around the front, just so the eye is drawn in a direction that comes from the top just here and all the way down around the front to really make that chest appear to barrel out a lot more than it would do otherwise. Okay, and you can see from the top our silhouette is very flat, whereas from the side you can see it's very kind of interesting, and it kind of guides the eyes down these curves. So I'd say if you're making models, it's always best to just keep rotating your model round so you can get an idea of where exactly the silhouette is successful and where it's kind of weak and loses its readability. So just from the top, if I want this to barrel out, I need to start pulling these out a little bit more, and bear in mind as well, when I start pulling these out, it's going to affect the silhouette from the side. So again, just kind of keep your model moving just to get an idea of where you're at with things. I think I'm going to have to just move these down a little bit more, and we're going to need more of another line in here to just feel like this is connecting up potentially. let's just try to make sure these two shoulder sections are doing the same thing. So at the moment they're kind of going in different directions. Again, I'm just going to cut it down the middle and apply the symmetry modifier, so that will save time and work. And then we flip that again, it's slightly off center. So I'm just going to do that, and then we can, oh, apparently not. So just do that. Yep, that's it. Cool. I just need to see where my model's actually sitting. It says it's sitting right in the center, so I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it's easily solvable. Anyway, so let's go back down here, make sure our effects are turned on. Sorry, our modifiers in the stack are turned on. And I can start operating on this side alone, and it will affect the other side of the mesh too. So I just move this out slightly just to here, and I kind of want these shoulders to come out same front and back as well. So I'm just going to quickly turn the mesh transparent so I can see, get myself an idea of what's happening on the front and the back of the model. So just line those up there so I can affect front and back if I can. Okay. Just move these out a bit more like this. Okay, so I want this one to be a nice straight angle just here. And I want to remove this to here so that it's just a bit more readable again. Okay. Then I want this shoulder to come up. Now the problem here is I'm going to start colliding with this arm. And bearing in mind this arm's going to need to come down as well at some point too, when it rests on the throne. I need to really take that into consideration. So this is going to have to be like the minor section almost, where it all just kind of comes in and isn't quite as grand as the top one, which is fine, because what that will do is you can see that it actually guides the eye down and round towards the center. So if I just line up these shoulder blades, shoulder armors, so they just come into line with each other, we've actually just created a direct curve down here, which reads quite well. Let's keep moving this in. Okay, there we go. See again, there's another curve just here, which is quite pleasing, so probably just move this out. So we've got these curves that are kind of running parallel to each other throughout the mesh. And when you come to polycolor the mesh, it just makes things a lot more pleasant to look at. Okay, so from the top, you can again see that we've got this nice curve around here, but on the underside this is kind of all sinking in and doesn't really feel as interesting. So we need to start bringing all of this out as well. So now you can see from the top we've got more of a barrel chest. Okay, so let's move this out. Okay, that's looking a lot better than it was before now, in terms of readability from the side. It looks like I accidentally selected a polygon on the back when I made that sternum, so we just quickly tidy this up. Just this helps if you tick this one just here called ignore back facing, but I always forget and end up selecting large groups of things to move them around, and with ignore back facing switched on, it tends to not select everything and tears my mesh to pieces. Okay, so kind of like how this comes to a stop just here. It kind of feels that it establishes like a waistline. So if I kind of, yeah, make that go into there, we don't really need all this bulk around the back here anymore. I think it's just a bit excessive and distracts from overall shape of the model, so I'm not really sure what to do with this sort of posterior section at the moment. We'll just try and move it in slightly and just see what comes from that slightly later on. And again with the anterior section too, just move that in. And probably just make that, yeah, I don't want it to appear pear-shaped, so it'll kind of make it look like, you know, that sort of look where someone breathes in and sort of puffs their chest out. If we kind of make this come in a bit more, it might not stay like that, but for now, that's all that's really coming to mind with what to do with this. So just move this down slightly, and we can just straighten out this form just here a bit too. So you've got that curve coming up here. Not too happy with this section in here where it's pinching a lot. It's quite distracting to look at. Maybe if we kind of move this forwards, yeah, and perhaps make it so this whole shoulder section just here almost reads like it's bleeding into one giant shoulder area. Then we can kind of just move this forwards. Yep, I think that's what we're going to have to do with this. Okay, so I think I'm going to spend hopefully till maybe about 4:05 in 3ds Max just tweaking this, and then we can get it back into Jagged and see what we can colour in from this and improve on the model. So the shoulder pads around the back just here just seem a bit too distracting as well where it pinches in. So it might be best off just pulling them back entirely maybe. Okay, just keep moving those back. Okay, I think that's good. And let's move this chest out slightly more. Okay, good. I must not let my coffee go cold. There we go. No, it's not a kind of boss. So if you just tuned in, this is the Tassikal, and it's going to be an NPC that's down in the Karum dungeon, which is underneath Brimstone, which is part of an expansion to Zaya called the Kebos Lowlands, which includes a new Slayer dungeon and a farming guild. So these are the creatures that are down in the Slayer dungeon. They're non-combat NPCs, so you'll just speak to them and they'll tell you how to interact with various parts of the area. They'll also tie into the area's lore as well. They're related to the Tsar. They're kind of like a splinter group from the Tsar, but that's all I can really tell you about them. So you can see they've got like the forearms like a Tsar, and they've got the large protruding ears, but they're going to look quite different and more kind of lordly. They'll be sat on thrones as well, so they won't be moving around, so they'll be stationary NPCs. There'll be 3 of them down there. Yes, the new Slayer Master is a girl. Or a woman. Yeah, it's Optimus Prime after he let himself go. These bits down on the side as well. So I'll just try and keep speaking to explain what I'm thinking as I'm working. Cool. So at the moment I think the torso is looking a bit more shapely. It's a bit more interesting to look at, a bit more readable, but these arms at the moment look very truncated, and it's very difficult to read them. They're very blocky. But I think for now I'm going to try to take this model into Jagged and colour in the torso and see if that inspires me to do something more specific with the arms, as opposed to trying to make changes now, because it's almost like when you're editing a mesh without the poly colour on, like you're almost working blind a bit. So doing this poly colour really helps you really helps you sort of define the shapes of your mesh. Right, so let's bring this out and let's load a jagged file. Let's go to this. Okay, so if we go into this view, you can see already, look, compared to the last time we had this in here, the readability of the mesh is a lot better with these rounded areas around here, around the chest, and with the shoulder pads and the slightly lengthened legs. So everything's going to start progressing a bit more now, hopefully. Okay, so let's start looking at this back area just here. Firstly, I don't think we really need this dark area around here anymore because it's very much been smoothed over. So probably what's going to serve us a bit better is to actually get a highlight on there instead of that dark region. What I'm going to do as well is just go into a top-down view. I'm going to create a palette for all the different greys that I'm making, because sometimes selecting off the model isn't very successful and it can be quite time-consuming. So we just want to colour that in like this, and just want to go into edit mode and just basically create a few divisions on this. Okay, then we get this palette like this. So say if I want a slightly darker tone, I can just select from here. I want a slightly lighter tone, just select from here. So we shouldn't have any more complications selecting colours. So we've really got to press on with time with this, just try and get it done. Okay, so again, I'll just be working on one side when I'm doing the poly colour, then after I finish that I'll mirror it. We don't have a symmetry tool in this editor, unfortunately, otherwise that'd be a lot quicker. So if we just add the highlights around the top just here, you can see we've kind of lost this edge down the bottom, but that's easily enough regained. We'll just kind of colour this in darker around here, which seems more suitable now. Slightly too dark. Oh, that's strange. I wonder what that colour is just there. 788. Okay. So just add that colour to our palette. Just keep selecting around. There we go. Okay, while I'm here, I'll just try and reshape a few areas here too. So the inside of the collar, you can see this is called a surface normal direction. So if I, it's difficult to select that, there we go. If I were to triangulate this now, you can see that there's two triangles and it creates this weird obstruction that appears to stick out in the wrong direction from the back of the collar. So if I flip that surface normal direction, then you can see it appears to be more readable and actually forms around the back of the neck. So if you see me changing the direction of things on the model, it's for that reason. Cool, so I'm just going to colour the back of the neck slightly darker as well. And turn that mesh transparent. It's a bit tricky to know which parts of the mesh you're selecting when you first come to use this program. But over time it's really strange how your eyes tend to focus on where exactly these pink dots are. So you can actually colour things in a lot easier. Okay, so these shoulder parts just here, I don't want them to appear so separated from the rest of the mesh. So if I actually colour this section in the centre a lot darker and lighten up the sternum as well, and then start just moving this down. It needs to curve really, come down into the centre, so I'll start adding a few more cuts in too. So just do this. Oh, selected it to blue. Sometimes when we import things in from the other tool, they come into this sort of like blue colour. It's a bit of a pain. So you can see if I select just there, it comes to grey down here. But if I select some of these regions, you can see they come to blue even though they're not blue. So all I need to do there is just select this colour, darker one, and just colour those all in again. We should be okay. Right, so let's try colouring this again. Okay, good. And I think that dark colour is a bit too severe, so I'm just going to lighten that up a little bit. Okay, good. And I think this neck part just here needs to be raised up, and maybe you just kind of give it a bit more shape going in like that. No, it doesn't really work either. Oh well, we'll just have to come back to the neck. That could work. Maybe if pull this out slightly. No, I don't want him to appear like a white collar worker. It'd be a bit strange. Okay, so let's add another cut in just here. And there we go. This is what I meant earlier with the shoulder pads coming in towards the sternum. It might not be a successful idea, but it's just something to go on for the time being and just see where it takes us. Again, you can see the surface normal direction here is a bit messed up, so in order to establish that flow of the mesh, we just flip that round. And I think we can just bring this out to here. That, and we just want to get this curve coming in to the sternum just here. So it might involve a little bit of tweaking just to get that right. And now that's obviously just giving us a really flat edge just here, which isn't very desirable or interesting to look at. But we can just create another cut just there, and then that'll hopefully allow this shoulder pad to take on a slightly more interesting form. Okay, you can maybe make it lift a bit more here. That's a bit too dramatic. Maybe just slightly like that. Coming out to a point. Yeah, I like that. I think it's okay. Probably pull it forwards a bit more. Again, just so it kind of reads okay just here. And I'm not really sure what to do with the back. Well, we'll just have them running parallel for now. And I think this dark colour really wants to go on there, so it guides the eye in the right direction. Just lift this up as well. And move this down. Okay, that's good. Just centre this up slightly. And move this out. Again, just rotating the model around, just checking the mesh from all angles to check the readability. And I think, yeah, I think that's good. So if we just go to the front, and I'm just going to duplicate this mesh, and we'll see where we go with the design if we mirror both. So it's the first one we had. So let's just select half of this, it's the half we just edited, and select half of this, it's the half that we imported, and if we duplicate this and mirror it, move that across to here, join, select weld, duplicate and mirror, oops. So move that over to there. Let's join, weld that. I'm not really sure which one I prefer, to be honest. I think both of these have their strengths. Oh, that's a shame. I almost prefer the original one that we came in with. Perhaps we can take from that and move into the, try and apply this. Oh right, people are saying the right one. So this one here. That's a great progress on the model. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's coming along quite fast now. Yeah, this one here. Okay, cool. Right, we'll go for that one then. Okay, good. Right, we'll get rid of that. Right, I'll just make sure this is lined up to the grid as well. So let's go down to a top view. Okay. Cool, you're welcome. I'm glad you're all enjoying this. Or at least liking the model. Okay. Right, so I'm just going to move this forward slightly. Just tweaking the model as we go. Okay. Just need a bit more curvature around the side here as well. Now I kind of need to build all this into the lower section here as well, I suppose. Or maybe we could have this as like a crest on top and do something slightly less busy down the bottom here. I think that would probably be the best way to work this. That way when these arms come down, they're not going to start clipping into this geometry here. So what can we do? If I work on this side, then I can preserve some of the detail on that side and experiment a bit more. So I'm just going to move this down here. Oh, what will help as well is if I go into this front view and if I just select a whole bunch of stuff from the bottom here. See that I've grabbed it all. Let's grab these top sections here as well, over the shoulder, armour. Okay, there we go, so I can just label this stuff and just call that bottom. So when I have to do any changes to it, say if I don't like what I've done on this side, I can just isolate that bottom section and cut it in half and mirror it, so I'm not selecting individual verts and having a difficult time and slowing down progress. So I'm just going to move this area down and see what we've actually got on the underarm just here. I think if I just select this whole label section and then just separate that from the model, I'll be able to work a bit better on the underside here. Hey.
Hey, just so you know, there's just been a broadcast sent out to promote the stream, so you might get an influx of new people not having no idea what you're doing.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
To explain again.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. So I'll give that a minute, John.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I'm just going to drink my coffee.
They said that you were designing Konar, the new Slayer Masters, which might not be completely accurate.
No, it's not accurate. No, that's fine. For all of you that have just tuned in, if you think I'm designing Konar, the Slayer Master, I'm not. What I'm designing is the Tassikal. The Tassikal are a splinter group from the Tsar, and they've settled in the Karum dungeon, which is under Brimstone, which is a settlement on the new January update for the new Zare update, sorry, called Kebos Lowlands, which is coming out in January. And it's basically going to follow the appearance of a Tsar, but kind of have a slight twist on that as well. So you can see it's got 4 arms. It's cut into 2 sections at the moment, just because I'm doing some editing on it. It's quite rotund and lordly, and it'll be sat in a throne. It's not a combat NPC, it's an NPC that you interact with that will instruct you on how to navigate the dungeon. And it will also give you some details about lore and give you a sense of how the area came to be and what the area is about. So at the moment, I'm just going to keep editing under the arm. I can show you a few things that I've done slightly later on in the stream.
Brimstone sending out a second broadcast saying we apologise if you're not designing Kona, but you're designing a new race, so please tune in.
Oh really? Oh no.
Yeah, he just put, someone posted it in the chat.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is a splinter group from the Tsar called the Tassikal. So I'm just going to actually start reducing the bulkiness of these arms because they were just blockouts to begin with, and they don't really have much shape to them. You can see they're just like tubers almost. So I need to really start developing these and doing something a bit more elaborate with them, I suppose. Right, so what I've done is I've split the model on the underside just here, so I can actually build some space between the upper and lower arms, because when I come to animate these, they're really going to start clipping into each other, which isn't going to look very good. I'm just going to turn off the transparency on the mesh, and when I move this back down, hopefully we should have a bit of space to edit the undersides of the arms when we go into 3ds Max. Okay. Yep, that's all good. So we've got like a little area under here that we can edit now. I'm also going to start moving some of these verts down from the shoulder area on the top just here. Cool. Right, so I'm just going to join these together again, and when we take it in the editor, I'll start editing on this side. So let's just export, save, and we'll save it as 0.3. Cool. Also, if you've just tuned in as well, just turn this off. I've showed people the drakes that I created earlier as well. They're going to be part of this Slayer dungeon too, so I'll just show you the drake model again, just to give you a quick preview of it. I'll turn the brightness up in the editor as well, just there. So you can see there's still a bit of detail to be added on the back of the tail. I'll turn off the outline. This is going to be the new fire drake down in the Slayer dungeon. And as drakes have no wings, you can see it's got these sort of like gaping sort of fiery wounds on its back, where the wings don't really grow on these things. All that grows there in its place is these areas where wings try to grow but never successfully sprout. Cool, right, so I'll just go back to the Tassikal model. Yeah, it really pales in comparison now, compared to that finished model. Right, so let's just load this up. And let's get the further edit in. So let's just import the object. Yeah, drakes are dragons. In our game, drakes are just dragons with no wings. As far as I'm aware, that's a common concept in other games, but I don't know if it's absolute. That's very kind of you to say, thank you very much. Yeah, so I wanted the model to chime with Vorkath as well, because obviously the Dragon King invented the dragons. They invented all these dragon-like creatures in the world, so I kind of wanted them to feel like they all had some kind of like what am I looking for? Some genetic source that they all came from. So there are certain similarities between some of the lizards in the dungeons and lizards throughout the rest of the game. Okay, so the problem we were having before in the other editor was that this area under the arms looks a bit too busy now, and I need to kind of simplify it down a little bit. Right, so start by just reducing the size of these arms, and I can work from there. Actually, let's not start doing that. Let's cut the model in half and apply the symmetry modifier before I do anything else. Is that coming through on the audio?
It is going through.
Oh dear.
There's some flu vaccinations going on just next door.
Oh really?
And people are allowed to bring in like their families and stuff to get their
Fair
kids
enough. Yeah. Okay.
vaccinated. So no children are being hurt during this stream.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
What a dark thing to say. Right, so let's just, I don't know what's happened with my import. I think I'm just going to have to edit one side of the model. Oh, it's because it's off-center, that's why. I don't suppose you'd be able to get me another drink, would you, John? My mouth's really starting to go dry. Could I have a coffee again? Is that all right? Sorry, man.
And you claim not to be addicted.
Well, it's decaf, isn't it? No, it's decaf. I'm not an addict. Oh, I should be drinking water, I know. I was being so good and I didn't drink any coffee for months. Then Kevos started up and I needed to start keeping myself alert and with it for designing lots of new models. So it takes a lot of time to put these things together, and a lot of late hours.
I'm just going to sip some caffeine in here, I'll be right back.
Don't put caffeine in it. I'm trying to get off caffeine. I started getting caffeine headaches last week.
Full control over your coffee intake.
You do, I'll know if you've done it. So where was I? Right, okay, so I'm going to start actually working on this side of the model now, and then I'm going to mirror it because we can't use the symmetry modifier for some strange reason. I'm sure it's something that I've done, but I haven't got time to figure out what I've done. Right, so start connecting up the shoulders on this model. And just connect that there. Okay, just tidy up the mesh a little bit as we go. And we'll delete this because we don't need it. It's just going to get in the way. Okay, so you can see we've got some uneven topology on the shoulder where I decided to create that shape going out, so we can start adjusting the topology so it appears like it flows a bit better again. It might be nice actually if just hide that, if it connects into this bit just here. Could be interesting. Yeah, so you've got kind of, yeah, so it all comes into here. Yep, I like that. I think we'll do that. Let's just remove this stuff just here. And now the thing with editing this mesh, now that it's got colour applied to it, is it will start doing weird things if I decide to try and bridge polygons, which isn't very convenient. So what I have to do is just kind of tidy up the mesh and create a hole like that, and then weld it together, and then fill it in, hope for the best. Yeah, you can see it's kind of a bit strange, probably because there's no glue applied to that. Let's just try and fix that. Okay, yeah, it's not so bad. Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to join all this together. You might be kind of screaming at the monitor saying just delete the polys and build it in with a bridge tool, but I can't actually do that without creating artifacts on my mesh when I take it back over into the other program. I would normally do that, but because I've got to get this done on stream, it would take a long while to tidy it. It'd take a bit of extra time to tidy it up if I did that, so I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, how's that looking from the back? Yeah, so you had this whole section here where it's kind of like it was cutting into it, it wasn't very satisfying, so now we've kind of joined this in. It appears to flow a bit more. It looks a bit nicer. We can also start welding this together too. Just missed that before. Okay, all good. Yeah, you can see as well in terms of readability, you've got a lot of breakage just on this side, but all of this appears to kind of join in and just be a bit more, it flows a lot better. Okay. Okay, it's much nicer. What I might actually do, however, is just create a break just here, so we can actually colour this in later. So it's almost like you're creating a line, like if we were using textures on the model to kind of accentuate this form around here. So you'll see that get coloured in later, and that'll make sense. But it's just because I kind of like it appearing chunky, and it might just end up appearing too polished and smooth if we don't at least show where things allegedly join up. Right. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is actually take this arm off, so you can actually see what I'm doing on the mesh. If I just duplicate that out, and then if I just detach that actually as a new object, and we can just isolate it and start working on that. So let's just unhide that a second. Did I get the whole arm? Yeah, I did. Okay, so you can see it's a bit strange how this is joining into the shoulder already. It might cause problems in animation when I come to place where the joints are, so I'm just going to straighten this out a little bit, and hopefully that will sit inside the joint and you won't be able to see much of that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Right, let's sit up for a bit and stretch. Oh, my name's Mod Ghost. I'm not Mod Wolf. The program I'm using is 3ds Max to create this program. Sorry, to create this model rather. Yeah, Jagged's coffee. Okay. Right, what to do with the arms? Okay, first of all, let's start getting them shaped like arms. So we kind of need the bicep to be a bit more prominent just here. Okay, and triceps out the back, just here too. And for the triceps, tend to like lift them up a bit more to be at about this height, just here. Obviously, we're not going to go into like muscle detail because we haven't really got that much fidelity on the graphics, but we can certainly get the general shapes in there. This is the annoying thing. I start pressing the same hotkeys that I do in the other tool. The hotkeys are completely different in this. Okay, so let's just edit the mesh, make it flow a bit better. Connect these up. How much longer we got? So we've got just over an hour before this stream finishes. So hopefully I can get something reasonable in place before we have to go. Just bulk these biceps out slightly more. And I did say I wanted to make these arms slimmer, didn't I? Now I'm bulking them out. It's not really going to end well, I don't think. But we shall see. Right, let's connect that up. Okay. I think the cuffs on this arm are slightly too exaggerated, so let's pull them in slightly. And bring the bicep out a bit more. Okay. So I'm just tidying up the topology here as we go. I could really do with mirroring this hand, because at the moment it's very uneven. So I'm just going to see what we can do to tidy up this hand a bit. This is not looking great. It looks like I've accidentally selected it at some point and distorted it. So I want these hands to kind of feel almost like very large and bulky, like astronauts' gloves. So it just makes them feel very mechanical. back. Extend these out so give them an interesting shape there as well. The Zars have, well, they would have fingers, wouldn't they? It looks like they've got human-shaped hands, so I'm just going to stick thumbs on these hands as well. So the thumbs would always poke out the front, just here. I'm going to have to create a break in the mesh. Thumbs. Yes, thumbs. Yeah, we don't normally have to do thumbs in Old School RuneScape, but if there's a larger NPC, we can stretch the thumbs. Right, so I better just delete this finger. And we can just extrude directly from this. Just connect this up slightly here.
They're really scared about your coffee cup, which is really close to your hand.
Oh, I live on the edge. I could knock it off for dramatic effect right at the end of the stream. I don't think you'd be very happy with, you know.
I wouldn't be very happy.
No. Someone said the intern can clean it up.
If we had an intern, yes.
Well, no. We don't treat interns like that. That's what you're supposed to say.
Sorry.
Apparently we do. Okay, sorry, I'll just try and keep talking so it's not the silent moments. Right, so now I'm just going to build out the thumb. It doesn't need to be too elaborate. You can see like the rest of the fingers are kind of like chunky and squared, so I'm pretty much going to do the same with the thumb as well. If the hand was detailed, I'd care about what direction the thumb was facing in, but to be honest, it doesn't really need to be that readable. So just make it curve out slightly just there, and just rotate it. This whole area here needs to kind of bulk out a bit more, I suppose. And we'll just rotate it around. Up there. Okay, looks about right-ish. Okay. Right, now I'm just going to move this part of the cuff out a bit more. And there really needs to be some topology just here to connect the thumb, otherwise it's going to look really strange with that big groove cut out the hand. So just create a quick loop just here. Raise that up. It's never really a good idea to add too much detail to these fingers, because when you get them in the animator, they just distort so much. So I'm just going to try and keep the detail on these to the bare minimum. Just move these to here, and then connect these up here. There we go. Okay. Move this out slightly. There we go, it's an old school thumb. It's pointing. Could be you. Okay. I'm just going to need to detach this and mirror it as well. You'll see a curious thing when you come to mirror things that have come out of the editor as well. So I just mirror on the right axis. You can see that it turns itself inside out. Like this. That's because of the polycolour that's applied to it. So you just have to attach them back and then it's okay. But it's just a slight bug. 3ds Max doesn't really like some of the stuff that we import. Okay, so just weld this back up. And our hand now looks a bit tidier than it did before, that's for sure. Now, I kind of think that the thumb finishes a bit flat at the moment, so maybe we should just kind of make it read with the other fingers with what they're doing. Okay. So I think it should maybe bring that in slightly. No, it's not really wowing me, whatever I'm doing with that. I'll figure it out at some point. I'm just throwing polys at it at the moment, it's not really doing anything successful. Okay, yeah, that's a bit more readable. Just calmed it, yeah, the mesh's a bit tidier now. There we go, that hand's a bit better. The rest of the arm is not so great, so just start working on that now. And I think we can slim this down a bit as well. Yeah, it's a bit nicer. Okay, so with the rest of the arm, I think I'm just gonna make this cuff slightly more elaborate, and also where the, oh let's close that, where the arm joins in, sorry, where the hand joins into the arm, it looks a bit uneven as well, so I'm just going to straighten that out too. Let's flatten this. So move that in, right, so. Okay, that's good. I'm also going to make this cuff bit a bit thicker. So at the moment it's not very even just there. Is that going to make it any better? No, I think it just needs to be a slightly more interesting shape. I think it should kind of direct down between these fingers just here. So if I kind of make a cut just here, then you'll be able to see how this now fits directly between the fingers just here, so the shape's very readable. They kind of meet together just there. But at the same time it doesn't look very very thick, so I need to basically shampoo this edge just to make it feel like it's actually got some substance to it, which will create an artifact on that corner just there that's unavoidable. Just remove that for now. So we just shampoo that out. It's a shame that it kind of works back into the model like that, but we can just pull it out again. Okay. Oh hello, what we got going on here? Okay, right, I'm just going to need to remove that quickly. Yeah, that looks a lot nicer. So let's bring that, oops, bring that out onto the hand. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, so let's just widen that out slightly as well. I selected the inside of the hand, it's a bit irritating. Let's leave it how it was. good. And then I'll just center this up, reconnect that. Okay, and then let's just do a loop around here, and let's just thicken that out a bit as well. Yeah, it looks a lot nicer. The inside part of this hand just here, it's joining in. I don't really think we need that topology, it's just a waste. But I suppose it might serve a purpose. We can leave it there for now, I guess. No, actually, so I remove it, be a bit more decisive. If you can't see it, it's not worth having it there. Just flatten this out as well. Okay, good. Yeah, the top part is too thick. So I just need to adjust that as well. The arms are generally a bit too stumpy, but let's just compare it against the rest of the model now. And compare it against the original arm. I just center the pivot to that so we can just move it around. So that's compared to the original arm, so it has a lot more shape now, that's for sure. But I still think at the same time it's a bit too chunky, so should just slim it in a bit like that. And slim this down a bit, like that maybe. And I think as well we can just lengthen the arm out too. Actually, so if the arm joint's just there. Just trying to get the proportions right because there's all that armour on top of it as well. So we can at least lengthen it out a little bit. For those of you that just tuned in, I'm making the Tassikal, which are NPCs from the Karum dungeon, which is under Brimstone, which is a new settlement on Zaya, in a place called the Kebus Lowlands. There's going to be a farming update and a Slayer dungeon update that's part of the Kebus Lowlands, and it'll be coming to you in January. This is, as I say, one of the Tassikal. They're a splinter group from the Tsar, and they've taken residence in the Karum dungeon, which is a giant volcano. They're not combat NPCs, they're NPCs that you'll interact with, and they'll be able to tell you how you're supposed to interact with various NPCs around the dungeon, and they'll also provide you with some information on lore and where they come from, and where and maybe possibly the dungeon's history as well. We just have to wait and see for that. So I'm just going to carry on with this. So we're working on the arms at the moment. I'll just loop this around here. There's not really any need for me to add too much more detail to the underside of the arm at this stage. It's kind of important to remember if you're working on a model that you shouldn't focus on one area and just ramp up the detail there. You should just add a little bit of detail in small amounts as you go, and just kind of keep moving to different parts on the model. That way everything progresses at the same stage. It's the same with I think when you do anything, like say if you're drawing a character even, you're best off just working on each section evenly and just letting the whole composition develop as a whole. Okay, right, so I'm just going to join this arm back into the mesh. So we just attach it back to the mesh again like this. And you can see there's a whole world of difference. Well, not a whole world of difference, but there's a fair difference between the new arm and the old arm. So we'll just switch that on. There we go. Right, so let's just, yeah, let's have a look around the mesh and see if we can start closing this up again. Yeah, I think we can. Before I do that, I'm just going to select this and then duplicate it down. And we'll start replacing this other arm down here. And then I reckon we're just going to have to start taking a look at the lower body right now, because I think everything on the upper body's it's found its place now. But this lower section with the legs just really isn't too hot. So let's just remove that. And let's just select a loop around here. Delete that, delete that. And then we can move the arm back up to here. We can actually slot this arm back in under here too. So still a few concerns about this arm coming down during animation and clipping with this, but that's probably something I can fix off stream. It's not really something to be too concerned about here. So for now I'm just going to connect this mesh back together by just attaching all of the torso to the arms. It's easier to attach the torso to the arms in this instance as opposed to the arms to the torso, because we've just kind of like finalised the shape of the arms now, so we don't really want to start distorting them again. Whereas the torso is a bit more half designed right now, so we're fine to start moving that around. Okay, so let's weld these together. There we go. So you can see the arms look a lot better on this side now. They've got a bit of a definite form. Cool. Right, so let's start sorting out the proportions of the lower body. I'm just going to quickly export this. And we can save over this later. I'm not going to go back into Jagged just yet. So we'll just save that. Okay, and I'm just going to start messing around with the proportions of the lower body now. Just because it's not looking too great in comparison to the rest of it. I did kind of want these creatures to be like really rotund, but I'm almost tempted to just kind of slim the waist in and kind of make them just look a bit more like the originals are, a bit more in shape, which might be just as cool. So it's just slim the hips in a bit. I'm actually just going to mirror this as well, because it's really kind of putting me off because the proportions on this side are different now. I wonder if I can apply symmetry to it now. Still can't do that. There we go. Okay, so just pull this into the centre. Yes. Good. Okay, and then we'll delete these two just here, hanging on. Right, good. So this is going to be a lot easier now. Let's start just moving this in. We've obviously got two sets of shoulders here, so really we need another cut around the bottom just here, because your ribs should be theoretically ending around here, and these hips are too sort of like prominent, I think. So I'll have really thin waists as well, so if I'm going for the correct proportions on this, I really need to kind of slim the waist in. But then that side silhouette's going to be ruined. Okay, time to backpedal. Okay, let's just import what I just saved out. Okay, so let's say we're sticking with the rotund ones. For now, it might change. Okay, so I'm certainly going to just lengthen the legs out, I think. That needs to happen. Maybe if the bottom of these legs were just like really, really sort of like heavy set, that might help balance out the detail on top a bit as well. So we've got this kind of area just here where it's kind of all pulled in. Just here, it goes out the side just here. It's not very, yeah, it's not very pleasing at all. Okay. So let's try moving the legs in. Okay. Okay, right, I think I know what I need to do now. Right, let's just try moving this up a bit to here. section to here. So I kind of have to sort the upper leg section out a bit, because at the moment it's not going to allow me to do what I need to do. So for example, the hips, the tops of the legs need to really not be connecting just here, they need to be connecting up here. But at the same time, we don't really want the arms to feel like they're coming out of the ribs, as someone said earlier. So then we have to move this section down here, like that, and kind of have to move this in here too, so the leg will get a bit slimmer, which isn't such a bad thing, I suppose. Kind of want this curve to stay here. Then that means that we can actually finish the diaphragm around here, so it doesn't really feel like that thing's just left floating in midair, doing nothing. What we could also do is then make it so the legs aren't quite so broad around the back, although that's an interesting look. So just slim that in slightly, and then we can pull the lower back in too, and just get this back of the hips. Yeah, we'll kind of get these slightly higher on here. Okay. Be okay?
Yeah, camera's on the.
Ah, okay.
So I have no idea what I was doing.
That's alright, man, don't worry. The main thing is that they can see what I'm modelling. I better drink some coffee whilst the camera's off. Okay, right, let's just weld all these verts together. Okay, and I'm just going to move the back down a bit just here too. So this kind of comes in. I think that shape's a bit more desirable now. You can also start moving this lower section of the back in, so it kind of curves in a bit more, I guess. Okay, and so that's the new waistline. And just move that out slightly, just there. The backs of the legs, I suppose we're going to have to give these things some glute muscles around here. After all, I wasn't intending to do that with them, but it might just help flesh out the forms a bit more. Okay, so with that there. I'm not really going to make their posteriors very prominent, I don't think. It won't really suit them. And they'll be sat down on chairs as well, so it doesn't really matter that much, but I'll give them a slight area just there. Oh yeah, did something just hurt everyone's ears? Oh, was it because I said glute muscles? Okay, well that's fine. Everyone seems to like the glute muscles. Okay, so I'm just going to keep building this line, which would kind of be the bottom of the ribs we've established. So that it comes round the lower back just here. Connect that just there. So now I suppose this whole section down here would be our abdomen. Yep. Okay, so that means we've got to move all of this in. Like so. And we could kind of make this, the groin section just here almost stick out the pelvis. Almost kind of like Ultron from the Avengers or something like that. That'd be a cool look. And that would kind of help capture that sort of like slim waist that the Tsar have in Old School RuneScape. It's not a groin cup, don't worry. Or at least if it looks like that, it won't look like that in the end. It might just look more like that even.
the snapping. Sorry. The sound that they were getting at is the
Yeah,
snapping.
yeah,
It's
it's the
the
snapping on the
GoPro
camera.
casing
Yeah.
closing. Sorry, guys.
No, I'm not going to make it any bigger, and it doesn't need to be any bigger. That's a serviceable groin cup. Okay, so just move the hips down a bit just there. Yeah, I think that's looking good. I think we should mirror that now and just see what we get. And we're kind of almost near the last half an hour of this stream, so I should start really wrapping up the colour side of things as well. We don't really need to worry so much about the feet, I don't think, on this, just because the feet aren't a very important part of the model. They're not really the bit where there's the most detail. Let's just mirror this, copy. Let's move that. Oh, I did it wrong. So just copy that on the x-axis. Let's just attach that. Oops. Okay. Let me weld that. There we go. So I'd say that's the silhouette more or less sorted now on that. Cool. Alright, so I'm just going to take it into Jagged. We'll probably stay in this tool for the rest of the stream, just because I need to start colouring this in and kind of defining the shapes as opposed to the silhouettes. I'm just going to save it over that 1.41 that we made earlier. And then we'll go back into this tool just here. So that's where it was a little while ago. And let's just load this in. And Tessa, Carl, yeah. You can just see, you know, what a difference like an hour can make really, and where you get to with the model. So that's the old one. Let's delete that. Okay. Right, so I think at this point we'll just try and sort out these problems we had just here with the shoulders. So I can basically build these pecs out to the side a bit more, I think. Just capture more of a shape to this chest region here. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, so let's just colour these in now. No, it doesn't look as good, does it? Did it? No. Yeah, we'll go with it for now. You can always change it. Okay, so let's just move this forwards. Yeah, sorry, sometimes if you miss the gizmo arrows in this, it just deselects what you had. So it's a bit fiddly at times. So I think we'll just connect these up with the arms just here. Oh man, sorry, it's just really tricky to select some of this stuff sometimes. Okay, just grab those, just roll them together. Colour these slightly darker as well. Should help these read better. Okay, that's not looking so bad now. And we'll just colour the central bit in a lighter colour as well. Okay, good. Right. Kind of looking a bit more like we want it to. We'll colour in the tops of the thumbs as well, in that slightly lighter colour. Okay, and we'll just try and colour these areas around the top of the hand a slightly darker colour too, so it feels like the cuff going around the top of the hand is actually casting a shadow on the rest of the hand, like that. Okay, that's fine. Good. Okay, it's a shame those we didn't really have time to do much with the legs, but we'll see what else we can do on this lower body quickly, the time we've got left. We can probably shrink the waist in a bit more. Select all of that, and then we'll scale that in slightly better. Okay. Just put that in a bit more on the waist. I think we can probably move all of this up a bit more as well. I think that can start looking slightly better then. The abdomen feel longer. It's not selected all of it. No, it always looks a bit strange with the Tsar where their torsos look too long. So I think that's about enough. Yeah, the legs look too small now, don't they? Maybe that is better. What do we reckon? Do you want slim legs or big legs? Slim legs or big legs? Slim. Yeah, okay, cool. Big. Big, 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 thick, thick, thicks. Slim. I think the thicks have it, sorry, if you wanted slim. Actually, let's just take a look from a distance, I'm not sure. Yeah, let's go with the wider legs. Maybe better. Just looks a bit more heavy set then. One big, one slim. No, we're not going to do that. I think like the waist needs to be darker around here. We need to kind of start cutting in under the ribs as well, just to make them appear a bit more defined. Like this. There we go. Okay, let me just lower this down. And we can just colour that in now. There we go. So you just get a sense there's actually an abdomen there too. I don't really like that layer of shadow in there. There's something I'll have to clear up off stream, unfortunately. Let's try colouring this slightly darker on the underside here too. Okay, that's fine. And maybe if we just go for a darker colour on the palette as well. Oh, we're already using that colour. Okay, let's go for this. Okay, just apply that around the bottom there. Okay, nice. As well as that, let's lighten up the legs too on this section here. Yeah, seems to make a lot more sense now. connect these together. And I think the space just there between the legs is too broad as well, so try and move that in a fraction. Let's try thin legs again. Sorry, I'm in two minds about this still. Cool. Right, let's just try mirroring this and seeing how that's looking now. Okay, so let's get rid of the bit between the nose as well. Okay, cool. Well, that's a slight improvement. It feels like all of this round here is done, more or less across the chest, but like you can see the head and the lower body's not really there. And we've got half an hour, so I'll just have a quick drink. Okay, so just gonna slim the waist in here a bit more as well. I feel that that'll kind of add a bit more shape to it. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. We need to do something else with these legs down the bottom as well. They're not really doing it for me right now. Also the face as well is not very interesting. So we'll just focus on the face for now, I think. It's the more important part. Whatever I do with this face is going to look like a transformer. There's just been so many of those designs made now. What can I do that's different? So could make it, yeah, a slightly different shape maybe. Okay, so if we have it sort of coming down either side like this, so it's quite long, and have this bit kind of curving out at the front, and we bring this bit up to be more like a bridge on a nose. It's always going to be Transformers, there's nothing I can do. So I curve that round. I mean, I kind of like the idea of making them more beetle-like, because they've kind of got all of the readability of that at the moment, with their sort of like big backs and their multiple limbs. Kind of makes sense. Let's just try adding a few more cuts in here and seeing what we can do with the shapes on the face to make it a bit more interesting. So a slight raised brow instead now maybe. That can go out towards the side, so if we move this outwards like this, and we need to do something different with these eyes as well, I think. Yeah, make them slightly higher. Make them kind of come in more as well, a bit more sinister, I suppose. Just tidy this up a bit around the side here. And of course there'll be 3 of these are as well, so once I finish the first model I'll do a slight variation on each, so that each one's got their own sort of like respective role and character. So it won't just be like 3 of these all placed down. Okay, let's do something a bit more interesting with the ears as well. So we can maybe bring these out slightly more like this. Make them kind of stretch up slightly taller way. So having them arch over like that kind of suits this curve around the back here. So that's fine. Yeah, so they kind of have to read with this curve the front just here in order for them to kind of fit in. Which could look cool. We'll give that a go. Just line that up there. Oh, I know. Maybe we can make it so this actually curves around here at the bottom as well. So it's kind of almost like Zarpus with the ears very large. Move that to the side and move this forwards. I've just got to line all these up just so it's easier to move them around. Okay, so if I delete this lower section here. The Hydra design can't be shown on stream yet, unfortunately. Not until release day, I suppose. There may be some marketing artwork that goes out that features it before then, but for the time being we're just going to keep that kind of secret so it doesn't kind of spoil it for people. Okay, so yeah, I think this side of the face is going to look a lot cooler once I mirror it now than it did originally. Okay, so let's move this back. And pull this out like that. Okay, that's good. And let's close this hole up here as well. Okay, we've got 20 more minutes left on the stream, so I suppose we have to start wrapping this up soon. Thanks a lot if you managed to stay with us for this long. It's been quite a long stream. Right, okay, so select this bit as well. Colour that in, see if we've got any more of that blue hanging around. No, we're fine. Okay, so let's colour that in now. Right, I'm just going to try mirroring this and we'll see what we've got with that slight rework on the head. Yeah, I think that head looks a lot more menacing now. Just need to space out the ears a bit more. I think I might just weld these together. That looks, no, they look better, thicker. We'll just raise it up so they kind of match up with this curve around the side of the head a bit more. Pull this side further over to here. Okay, it looks slightly better. Tell you what, I think that's an improvement on where we were originally with this face. Don't know what the chat thinks. Zal Prime. I think I managed to get away from the Optimus Prime look a fair amount, really. I don't think it looks too much like that anymore, which is good because I don't really want it looking. We want it to look distinctive for Old School RuneScape, really. Okay, let's colour that in just there. Yeah, maybe that does look a bit more like Optimus Prime now, doesn't it? No, we don't want to upset the wrong people. Good. Okay, right, I'm just going to move that in now. Slightly too broad on the neck. And we can darken this down as well. Put that there. And if we darken this down, it'll just make it feel like it's more of a recess in the neck too. Like that. So that's fine. I think I might colour the underside of the neck that as well. Okay, so that's good. And maybe the underside of the neck as well, just so it helps this sort of have its own shape, although it does look a bit like a giant hole for the mouth now, so maybe not. Cool, right, so it's a bit more of a defined face. Right, how much time have we got left? 15 minutes, so let's try and do something to the lower legs as well. Right, so set this out as 0.5. Can't show you how it will animate, unfortunately, in 15 minutes. It takes a long time to rig up one of these. So yeah, I'll basically just have to make sure something's posted out once it's rigged up and it's animated, and you can maybe get possibly an in-game screenshot, or if not, an asset that's animated inside the editor that we could show to you, but that'll be a much later time to the time we're at now. Right, okay, so with these legs, what am I going to do? I think the feet need to just be a bit more interesting to start off with. I like the fact that they're curved and blunt, but for the sake of this, let's try experimenting with the shape and see if we can come up with something better. So we'll just pull these toes forwards, a bit more like this, and pull the sides back, a bit more pleasing shape. More curvature here is needed. Just looking a bit square. Let's move that out. Okay, so that's good. And we just need to lift this up too. Okay, good. And move all of this back down again. Fine. Okay, so as well as that, we also need to, so let's move this back, add a bit more interest to the knees. So for that, we can just kind of extrude some shape from it, I guess. So let's just make a cut here quickly. Work all this together. For some reason it's not letting me edit that. Let's move that in the middle. Okay. Ah, I see what's happened. Right, okay. Let's move the center just there. Okay. go, this should be a bit better now for the legs. Just select that whole section just here, and we just basically move that up so it overlaps the knee. Gives a bit more of an interesting shape on the knee just there. Pull that out slightly. You can also just try and make it so it doesn't look too much like a pedal bin. And just kind of pull the shape back in as well. So if we pull this out, and connect it to here as well. Wow, I'm getting all these really weird cuts all over my model for some reason. I hope nothing's going to go wrong. Okay, alright, so so bad. Right, so what I need to do now is just extrude this in, I think. And the extrusion tool on this editor isn't that great, as you're going to see now. So when we extrude stuff in, it basically leaves the previous shape there, so you have to go over all of this and delete those. And then what you're also left with now is all these shapes just here which are facing the wrong way, are facing inside out, so you have to go around and select all of these and make sure they're facing the right way. And then because it can't extrude by any specific direction, it just extrudes in one linear direction, you then have to readjust things to scale them like this too. Okay, so move this down. There we go. Got a bit more of a shape going on with the lower leg there now. A bit more interesting. Okay, so let's just weld all this together. Move these down. Select these. Still won't let me do anything with those, which is a bit annoying. Okay, that's why. Okay. And I can just stitch these together just here as well. And I'll do the same for this side. Select the lighter grey. So if I'm altogether honest with this shape on the lower leg, I don't think I'm too happy with it. But it's better than it was, it's a bit more interesting than that side, and it will kind of change off stream, so we'll get it looking like something that's halfway decent. Just select this dark colour here as well, so we can just separate this out a bit. Maybe just tuck this in here a bit more as well. Oops. On the side. Yeah, that should be fine. So if I just select this here and move this down. No, that doesn't look very good at all, does it? Okay, we'll just leave it how it is. Okay, so I'm just going to try and give this bottom section of the foot a bit more interest as well. So let's just widen this out. I really think that the foot should kind of, this should come out like a piece of armour over the foot almost, unlike what it's doing at the moment. So if I just select all this now and just move it back. that's going to be better. And then we'll just pull this section around the front out a bit more, lift that up. Yeah, that's cool. It's sort of looking a bit like a Buzz Lightyear toy now, which wasn't intentional. So we'll just adjust the colouring on this as well, so it's facing a different direction now. So we need to lighten it out. Okay, yeah, that's about right. Okay, and we'll colour around the back of the legs as well. Cool. Oh, that's added a bit more detail to the leg. Let's just pull this area of the groin back in a bit further, I think. Actually, it doesn't really need to be a different colour, it just looks a bit odd. Just colour that in for now and change it another time. And I'll colour this a bit darker. It's okay. Right, I suppose we could just try and slim those legs in again and just see what happens with it now that everything's a bit easier to focus on. Oh, hang on, it needs to be mirrored because the proportions will be different. So I should mirror that first. So slim his legs in a bit more. No, it looks a bit silly, but I almost like it more when the legs are scaled in. Right, let's just try and bring each individual leg in more then. No, I know it's not good. But I just think like the gap is just too big. Okay, let's close that in slightly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, let's lift that up. Yeah, cool, thank you. See what the topology on this is doing now. Oh, it's the wrong direction. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. No, I don't think his bulge is massive. I mean, it's fine. It's just enough to, I don't know, it just seems like it should be there. Right, so as well as that, I'm just going to add some highlights down the front as well. Let's see where we can start these from. Yeah, so this should make it appear slightly more metallic, I suppose. Cool. Okay, right, so we're almost at half past now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to save this out. That's as far as we can go on this stream. And I'm just going to load in all the other models that we've done so far, so you can kind of see the progression. Okay, so this is what we've got here. Better be design quality. Yeah, don't worry. Anything that you don't think's quality on here, it will be designed to a better standard. It's just a short period of time to do this sort of thing. Right, so that was the previous iteration. Wow, I'm really, really mentally exhausted after this stream. Taking ages to do everything. So, 2. Go home. Oh, thanks. It would be nice to go home and have a pint, but I'm actually going to leave here and go to the gym, as Christmas is just around the corner and all the gyms are closed and there's loads of unhealthy food on offer. So I'm just going to try and get a head start on all that overeating this year. Okay. Right, so this is what we started off with. We'll just have a look at this. Zoom in a little bit and just use this function. So we can go full screen and I'll turn off the grid. So this is how we started. You can see, well, you can just see, you don't need me to explain. See how things kind of progressed. No, it's not a beetle monster. Although it looks like a beetle, it's actually going to be a new form of Tsar. So this is the final iteration, I guess. Wow, sorry if that disorientated everyone. So I'll just move this into the center again. There you go. So this is the final model. For the stream, it's not going to be like the final model. So this is just as far as I can get today. Cool. So once this is finished, to give you an idea of the level of detail, I'll just show you the Drake that I've been working on recently as well, just to kind of redeem myself because it doesn't look so great. So yeah, it'll basically be this level of detail that we've got for the new Drakes that are coming up too. Yeah, that one looks a lot better, right? So there'll be a better colour balance on it and everything, so it'll be a bit more interesting to look at. So yeah, those are the Drakes as well. Yeah, that's actually good, isn't it? I know. It's a lot better than what I made today, but it's a limited time. Anyway, I won't keep going on. I'll let you all go. Thanks a lot for joining in. Do check out Kebos Lowlands when it comes out in January. I believe I've got one more live stream to do before that release, so hopefully I can show you some more stuff then and do a bit more modelling. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Wait a sec. Just.
Oh, we're waiting.
Just guys, remember tomorrow All Stars. Not tomorrow. Saturday All Stars 5 PM GMT.
Okay.
Tune in and watch that.
Yeah, sure. So if you didn't get that, it's PvP All Stars on Saturday, 5 o'clock GMT. Please tune in to our Old School RuneScape Twitch channel, and you'll be able to see that there. Thank you very much. See you next time.